tech. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polished choir. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. Everybody's selling truth like a brand, buying opinions they don't understand. Talking in circles, screaming online. Keyboard courage, borrowed spines. Yeah, power plays dressed up as peace. Same old wolves with different teeth. But silence is loud when the house is burning, and the fuse is short, yeah, it's still learning. I don't dance for the left or the right. I stand in the heat, I stand in the fight. No strings, no chains, no manufactured choir. Just gasoline thoughts and an open lighter. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. The world's on tilt, pressure climbing. Truth don't whisper, it's perfect timing. You can't cancel the smoke, you can't stop flame. Say my name when it hits, say my name. Why? Say my name. Say my fire don't ask permission. Fire don't need a side. Fire just shows up honest and exposes the lie. This is and I'll bring the fire. Truth is harder. Burn it down till what's real survives. No smoke, no mirrors, just heat and lies. And I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. American fire. Strike it. Let it speak.
Happy Monday, everybody. What's going on, folks? It's good to be here. I hope you guys are excited because what a day we have ahead of us. What a show I got. Man, it is getting fun out there. If you've been a part of this whole movement for the last few years, 10 years, 2 years, whenever you jumped in, man, it is time because things are ramping up. The exposure is here. Trump has Pulte declassifying and firing folks. The Iran war has got the deep state on the ropes. Things are shifting. It is getting very fun. The Fagosphere Podcastistan is in total panic, showing us where everybody is at. They know it's going really, really bad for them. Oh, and yeah, Democrats are imploding. So there's always that as the Democrats' civil war continues. Their projections, their generational opportunities are collapsing. So we're getting a lot to talk to today. I hope you guys are ready for it. I hope you're having a good Monday. It's the beginning of the week, and that does not have to be a bad thing. You don't have to go all Garfield on me. You can just accept it as it is, and we can jump into the good stuff, and I'll try to keep you guys company in your workplaces, in your daily chores, whatever it is you're doing for the next few hours. So strap in, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you guys for watching today. Thank you for being a part of this channel, this community. As always, jump in the chat, give me your questions, comments, tag me so I know. If you want to support the channel, you can always send a super chat. Those are guaranteed to be read or answered, and yada, yada, yada. No trolls. I will ban you. That's how it goes. I think I'll be getting trolls today because the exposure is here. Fauci is freaking out. The Democrats, the deep state is freaking out as the election fraud is being exposed. So all kinds of stuff. Oh yeah, and the black pill ops have gone to 11. It goes to 11. They've gone Spinal Tap on us. It's gone to 11, the black pill ops. So we're going to be talking about that as well. Man, no black pill in here, folks. No black pill, because when they're black pilling, when they are trying to get us to black pill, that's a sign we're winning. I feel amped today. I feel ready. I feel good. Been spending a lot of time in reflection this weekend. Now, I will say, kind of an odd weekend as my wife left me. Not permanently. She's gone for just a few days, but it's just me and the kids, the 6 kids. And so that's been keeping me busy, but I'm still making time to get everything done and staying on top of everything. So you guys ready to break some narrative, see what's really going on in the world today? I'm going to do my best to reveal it to you. So again, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let me give some shout outs. By the way, we've now introduced Kick. I'm now streaming on Kick as well. This is my first day streaming on Kick, so we'll see how that goes. But welcome everybody on Rumble, YouTube, and X as always. Sorry, Xers, I still can't see your chats because Elon hasn't integrated that fully. But Rumble and YouTube, let's give some shout outs. We'll start with the Rums today. Frankie Fran, what's going on? Pixel Snap in the house. Chrissy Katz and Nels, thank you guys for holding it down there on the Rums. Here on the Tubes, we have a lot of people already here. That's beautiful. We got Room Dog numero uno today. Dabod Todd, Nick Majors, K Shuey says, I don't get notifications for your lives, only your reposts. Well, that's a bummer. Hopefully they fix that at some point. Gray Fog, what's up? Come take them. Jim Atkins, Tammy Anderson, Cass Sink, Rafe, Toe Cramps here, Golden Code, Mark Maddox, Scott Volkovich, Gen X Maga, Klasda, Ramona, Michael McDonald with a $2 super chat already says, is old man Mitch alive? Kuna Matata, appreciate you. I mean, no worries. Is old man Mitch alive? I'm very skeptical. Let me put it that way. And if he is alive, his voice right now sounds like as he's on those breathing machines. That is my guess on Mitch. Rooster Alice, Gen X Mega, Sabbatic Witches, yeah, Kika, Christina, I speak for you, KT for you today. Smokehouse Funny Guy, Threads, Vince Felice, he's Dragon, Carnivore for Life, and so many more. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming in. Sorry I can't get to you all. It would just take all day. Free Nezzo with a $2 super chat. What's up, Free? Says, hey, fam, God bless you all on your way to work. Well, thanks for tuning in, Free. We appreciate you. Michael McDonald asks, I've seen a massive uptick of social media nonsense the last few days. Is this their last-ditch effort to flood the waves? Well, not a last-ditch effort. They're always going to push as long as they have any influence. As long as anybody still shows up to watch these grifting fools, they will not stop. But is it a full-on, full-court press right now? Absolutely. And every time they make one of these full-court presses and it turns out to be nothing, guess what happens? They lose. They lose more viewers. They lose more influence. It's falling apart for them. As I showed you guys last Friday, as we went through many of these YouTube channels, Tucker, Candace, Megan, they're all falling off. And I know what some people are going to say, Candace Owens still gets millions of views. Yeah, she does, but she's getting half of the millions of views she got even 4 months ago. That's what you look at. See, my years of social media, internet marketing, online business has taught me how to read through the lines on that stuff. And I can tell you, they're all falling off, all of them. But the media won't let you believe it. Just like the media doesn't want to believe they've lost any influence. So one of the many with the $2 super chat says, nice pump fake with the misses. Trust me, I want to be so happy if she actually went out. that would be very depressing. No, my marriage is strong. It's going well. We're going on 18 years, so nothing to complain about there. Doing really well. Okay, let's get into it, shall we? Speaking of the media, we did have the correspondence dinner the other night. And I got to tell you, this wasn't Trump's finest speech. He did say his writers sucked. I have a feeling that with all the time in between and the lack of comedians and stuff willing to work with Trump, I have a feeling his staff kind of did a lot of the joke writing. So it wasn't the best, but I got to tell you, he did land a few of them. So before we really get the show started, I did want to share my favorite moments from the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Friday night, because, even though it wasn't Trump's best speech or funniest speech, he still had some good ones. Here is one of my favorites right here as he's having some fun with RFK.
I hope that everyone finally got to enjoy their entire, very delicious beef tenderloins, very special beef. And I want you all to know that Bobby Kennedy, who's right here, personally ran over the cow in his car. And he cut it up and he brought it here for you to eat tonight. So it's very fresh. And Bobby also suggested an appetizer featuring his favorite cut of male raccoon roadkill. But we drew the line at that, Cheryl. We said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not doing that. We love Bobby. I'll tell you, he's a piece of work. You think it is fun, but he is a very different kind of a person, I will tell you. But he has what it takes, and he's smart, and he loves the country, and he wants people to be made to feel good. You agree with that, Bobby? He wants people to feel good. And he's doing a fantastic job. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. We can joke all we want, but thank you.
You guys know the Bobby Kennedy stories. That's flipping hilarious. I'm sorry. That was A+ right there from Trump. You can tell how much they like each other, which is interesting because, being a Kennedy, seeing Trump and Kennedy become best friends has been a lot of fun. Here was my other favorite moment.
We attack, and I thought Caitlyn had really made it big with a major new sponsorship, but then I informed her that it wasn't her on the Bud Light can. It was Dylan Mulvaney. We attack, and
I'm sorry, but comparing Caitlin Collins to Dylan Mulvaney has just got me one of the funniest things I've heard in a very long time. It's so funny because the media was pissed. They celebrate these people. Trans women are beautiful. They're women. And then Trump compares one of theirs to a trans person and they all freak out. So unbelievably funny. So those were my two favorite jokes. But this is then there was this moment which was just fantastic as well. And then we'll actually get to the show, guys. Don't worry. But I wanted to celebrate this a little bit because it was fun.
I'm pleased to announce my intention to, and this is somewhat of a scoop, my intention to run for a fourth term as president of the United States. I will be doing that. I will be having an official, in fact, I think I have, I won 3 times. Now I'm going to do it again. Thank you. I'm going to do it. Should be easy. I'm getting very good at running for president. No, I won 3 times, did very well the second time, by the way. It's a rigged election, but we don't have to talk about it. I'm pleased to.
That was the ultimate troll right there. They're all so nervous in the media about this Trump 2028 stuff. It's hilarious. 4th term. I know there's people who think Trump's serious about it. I'll tell you what, I have been on the part where I really think Trump's not running in 28. He is a constitutionalist. Trump loves the republic. He loves the law of our land. And it's frustrating to a lot of people. They're the people who want him to take out the judges, all that stuff, go all Andrew Jackson, and Lincoln. And I don't think Trump's quite ready to do that. But I will say this, I'm open to it, but it's going to depend on the outcomes of what Trump does with the election fraud. Okay. So that's what it's ultimately going to come down to. And so if Trump does run again, which by the way, guys, he'll be 83, if he ran again. So, it's not, Like, I love Trump, and I think he's a Superman in so many ways. The guy sleeps like 4 hours a night. He's 80 and looks amazing, talks still sharp as ever. But, you know, that everybody has their endpoint with age. And so, you know, but we'll wait and see how it plays out. I still lean that this isn't going to happen, but you know, you never know. You never know with what's going on, which does bring us to where we're at right now. So, all right, well, let me get started on this in just a second here, guys. But before I do, again, let me lay the ground rules here. This is an amazing place to be. This is the best community on YouTube. Please feel free, jump in the chat, questions, comments, get along with this community. It's amazing. I will say this, questions and comments are welcome. Tag me to get my attention. Disagree with me all you want. Just do it honorably. And don't make emotional arguments. I don't have time for any of that nonsense. Make real arguments or bring receipts. Trolls will be banned. The mods are watching you. We keep this chat clean. I don't care about the engagement I lose from banning trolls. You know why? Because it's better when the trolls aren't here. The people can talk. They can get along. They can actually have real conversations. So trolls will be banned. And as I get into exposure, I fully expect a few to show up. But yeah, but all that said, and then again, guys, this is a viewer supported channel. So if you want to support the channel, super chats are welcome. I guarantee they'll be read or answered. And then if, as always, you can join the membership, go in the description below, click the Patreon link, get yourself a free month and see if it's worth staying for you. You'll get full Discord access and members lives. Okay. With all that being said, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and let's get into it. This weekend, things really started to go up a notch. And I know I say that a lot. Well, the truth is, it's because it happens a lot. We are constantly ramping up and will constantly ramp up until this is all finished. This weekend, we got the news. Always funny, it happens on the weekend, so the media doesn't cover it as much. But Trump had Bill Pulte carry out a 4th round of layoffs in ODNI. Here is a quick little summation of it.
They are now out of a job. Their firings, which they were informed about just yesterday, are part of an effort ushered in by the new acting director of national intelligence, Bill Pulte. An intelligence official who spoke on condition of anonymity due to the potential for reprisal told MS Now these officials are being dismissed because leadership believes that they have withheld intelligence. That allegation, one former official refers to as, quote, absurd.
Absurd. So, 4th round of layoffs. Pulte says since becoming acting director of ODNI, National Director of National Intelligence, our team has been smartly and carefully reducing the size of ODNI, refocusing it on national security, the law, and the statute. Interesting where he says refocusing. What do you think? What do you think they were focused on other than that? Interesting. Propaganda. Undercutting the president, undercutting what we're trying to get done, undercutting our military, leaking. I mean, you name it. How is this a refocusing when this should have been what they were doing the whole time? Very interesting. It's kind of get a clue of what they're getting rid of. As of this evening, we finished a 4th round of thoughtful, measured layoffs. Thank you. This comes after Trump previously posted dozens fired in round 1. Listen, the fact, folks, is that this is a huge deal. Now, and I hope you recognize at this point, especially if you've been watching my show, that the breadcrumbs were given. Okay, we only get a little bit of insight into what's happening behind the scenes. All right, there is so much going on, good and bad, but mostly good. And the Trump administration is doing what we voted for. It's doing what we all hoped for the last 10 years, the last decade plus. We are having some of us who have recognized the deep state going back further, who have recognized the overtaking our country. We're getting what we've dreamed of for decades. Some of us longer than others. It is happening. The problem is A, they can't just come out and tell us everything that's happening. And B, the media is going to cover up as much of it as possible. That is a fact. And when they do cover it, they're going to spin it. So when you factor all that in, folks, we get very little of the real information. What I do here, what people like Promethean Action do, Tom Luongo, a lot of the people on like Rich Does Politics show, et cetera, et cetera. What we do is try to piece together what we actually can find. And what I can tell you is when we look at it, there's no way to, like, I don't see how there's any conclusion other than there's a ton going on. When this stuff reaches us, it means massive shakeups are happening. This doesn't happen in the national intelligence, okay? CIA, NSA, when have these teams ever been cut back before? Not in my memory, not in my lifetime. But not only is Pulte doing that, on his account, he has been unleashing all kinds of documents as D-Class continues. Now, yes, some of it is redacted, of course, but there are some big things coming out here, like this one, July 13th, 2026. This is not a D-Class, but this is telling us some forward guidance here. In May 26, President Trump created the Transparency Task Force. Did you guys know about this? July 13th. I mean, a few of us covered it, but nobody's talking about it. But this is only less than a month old. In fact, it's only about 2 weeks old. The Government Transparency Task Force within the White House, Executive Office of the President, purpose advising him through the Council of the President on documents that should be declassed and are released to the public. Today, the Government Transparency Task Force announces the first disclosure of U.S. intelligence community records that were declassed this week. This declassified intelligence reveals voter registration rolls from at least 18 states have been compromised by the People's Republic of China. So we're getting more of the documents from this whole that Trump announced the other day. And you have right here, President Trump's alerting congressional and state government leadership officials to the election infrastructure vulnerabilities in states identified by name. Alaska, Arkansas, Colorado, Connecticut, D.C., Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Kansas, Maryland, Michigan, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Oklahoma, and Rhode Island. Interesting, some of the red states there, huh? Oklahoma, some of the places that are deep red but have some very rhino people running them. Or Kansas, Georgia, of course. Florida was a swing state for many years, so of course they would have tried to go into there. And then, of course, the blue states. It's interesting, isn't it? Some of these you wouldn't expect, and some of these make a lot of sense. Notice California's not on there. Why? Well, they don't need to rig California. It's already rigged. But it is interesting where they put their resources, or they just don't have the data proving it yet. This is very interesting stuff. So ahead of the 2020 election, China had excessive plans to utilize personal and cyber operations to sway public opinion against the Trump administration. We just have more and more of this coming out. As Trump said, or Pulte said yesterday, while it's only been a few weeks since he made me acting director of national intelligence, Trump has moved at lightning speed to protect our country from foreign influence and give transparency through D-Class. And you can just see it's more and more and more. Here's a whole report on foreign threats to 2020. So regardless, it's coming out, it's ramping up. And then people are already parsing through it. Right here, you've officially been told Venezuela rigged their own elections and ran paid influence ops on the United States, but there is no evidence Venezuela hacked into our machines. Now, interesting. Who has been pushing that lie? Oh, Patrick Byrne, Emerald Robinson. Interesting. People trying to get us off the scent. Here it is in this article right here that there's no evidence of Venezuela hacking our machines. It doesn't mean Venezuela wasn't a part of it. And it doesn't mean that there's not things stored there. We know Obama worked with Chavez and Maduro, and all kinds of shady stuff came out of there. So this is a lot to unpack. That's what we're learning. There is way more to this than meets the eye, than we've been told. And guys, as this unfolds, more and more we're going to realize just how corrupt 2020 was, but also how a lot of actors tried to get us off the scent or feed us nonsense to muddy the waters, but also to make us look crazy and turn us away from what actually was going on. This is very interesting, and it's scary for them because 2020 is the keystone. Once you've proved 2020 is rigged once and for all, it opens up Pandora's box to go after everything, to go after every election fraud, because now Republicans will not be able to fight it. They're already feeling pressure on this, which I'm going to talk about in another segment. The pressure is ramping up on them to get behind President Trump. Because, listen, if you're a rhino, you are working with the establishment. You are trying to slow down things. This is why the Senate has sucked so much, why John Thune is terrible. But as a Republican when your base is MAGA, you still have that pressure behind you, pushing on you to make it so that you eventually have to cave or you lose all your power. See, when the pressure ramps up, they go into survival mode. And survival mode often means we have to play along a bit. This is why when Trump first came in 2025 in the wave election, why the Republicans actually got through the one big beautiful bill. They didn't want to. It was like pulling teeth, but they had to because the pressure was so great. People, we still control our government when we are focused and when we are loud and when we are engaged. But it takes all of that. And the worst thing you can do is check out. It's the worst thing you can do, which is why there are several ops nonstop convincing you that your vote doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Check out. Oh, I'm not voting. None of this matters. Nothing ever changes. All black pill operations, because they know when the people are engaged, we win. And this is what they're trying to avoid. Here's a nice little breakdown. Here we go. The election declassification engine just reached the infrastructure layer. White House is now stating China compromised voter registration data connected to at least 18 states and more than 200 million American voter records. Names, addresses, phone numbers, party affiliations, the raw material required to map, profile, and target the American electorate at population scale. This release exposes the foreign access layer and the intelligence trail surrounding it. China got the data. Elements inside the government became aware of the breach. The warning remained buried, and Trump is now forcing it a public record while directly alerting Congress and state leadership. That sequence is key. Foreign penetration, intelligence awareness, internal suppression, presidential declass, state notification, nationwide election security response. The voter rolls were the access point, China was the external vector, and the suppression trail leads back through the institutions responsible for protecting the country. This is the first disclosure. The door is now open to election security executive action. What did I tell you guys 2 weeks ago when Trump did his speech? And I had so many people. This is nothing, man. This is just telling us what we already know, bro. Nothing's happening, dude. I don't want to hear nothing unless there's arrests. Dude, it was so easy to see what he's doing. And that is setting the case before the American people, building it up. In case he needs to use it, he can use an election emergency executive action. That is what this is all about, is locking down and protecting the midterms so that we know we're getting a fair election. Trump is doing it. This is how it has to be done. Okay. This is like to the same people who are like, every little time something bad happens, Insurrection Act, Insurrection Act. You know, there's a reason Trump holds off on that, and it's smart, because when you do that and the people don't understand and there's no buildup, guess what happens? You lose all the confused, scared people. And when you lose all that support and go backwards, that doesn't help what you need to do in the future. That doesn't help you fulfill the mission. Trump is trying to gain more and more people moving forward, because the more people that come to his side, the more people that are awakened, the better chance we have of ending all this once and for all. You have to keep, it has to come in sequence. It has to come in sequence. And I know a lot of people don't want that. They're impatient, but regardless, that's what Trump's going to do. And once you understand it, it helps settle the nerves a little bit. Now, there's so much more coming out. Catherine Herridge continues to do excellent work. And we're just finding out more and more just how much of this foreign influence was getting into everything. As she found evidence, Joe Biden's family is being blackmailed by China. Listen to what Catherine Herridge has to say, who, by the way, is going to be on here a couple times today because her work she's doing is excellent. Listen to this.
What we saw in the release of the records, which I'm afraid, I think in the media or legacy media, there was kind of a willful blindness. They didn't want to look at the records. All you had to do was spend a couple of hours. I found these records, which are talking about blackmail by China. It was for President Biden's daily brief. I can conclude, I think, that it was probably about targeting his family. When that kind of information is not reaching a decision maker, ultimately the United States and the American people are the losers.
Right.
And I think that's what people need to be focused on.
Well, it's dangerous as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're not getting into it.
So this is wild. So in these documents she's holding right here, we're being told is information and evidence that the Biden family is being blackmailed by China. This is something that we all thought was happening, but now there seems to be proof. Now we're not being told what the proof is, but she's saying that it is there, and I'm sure it will be released. So we
More and more, folks. The ramp up continues. Now, this, while all this is being exposed, and guess what? This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. We've talked about China many times. China's going through its own purge right now as Xi is getting rid of crooked people. There's a reason Trump is not putting the full court press against China right now. We can all speculate as to why that is. My theories, I've shared them many times on this show. I don't have time to go through them all. But regardless, it does all come back to the deep state, because what Trump exposed is that the deep state covered this all up. They allowed it to happen. And in effect, they were working with China to let this all happen. We can all speculate as to why. But this all goes to show Trump was never one of them. And that is one of the things that drives me the most crazy, is when people are like, Trump is just one of them, which, by the way, was happening this last weekend in Podcastistan, or Fagaland, with Tucker Carlson and Sean Ryan, which we'll get to in a later segment. But regardless, that nonsense is still being pushed forward. Trump's one of them. He's just one of the uniparty. He's one of the deep staters. Well, here's Captain Herridge again doing great work, this time with a former senior CIA operations officer, James Erdman. Listen to this.
Are you familiar with the whistleblower complaint that was lodged about the suppression of intelligence about China's election activities in 2020?
Yes, I'm aware of it.
What can you share with us?
I don't want to go too much into that specific whistleblower complaint, but I will say that I have spoken to many people who are involved in the COVID origins analysis, people who were both on the operational side and the analytical side. And that is 100% believable, because the same sort of things are happening in other topics that touch on China. So yeah, we had whistleblowers say, yeah, they did not want to harm China.
What explains the reluctance of the U.S. intelligence community to present evidence that is fact-based and credible about the threat from the Chinese Communist Party?
They're worried that, President Trump might do something crazy that upsets, what we have decided is how the world should work. And frankly, we got globalists working inside the IC. And last I checked, we work for America. We're not here to ensure that NATO gets their funding or the UN is.
Did you just hear what he said? He outright just admitted we have globalists working within the intelligence community. They didn't want Trump to screw it all up. There it is, folks. This is a former CIA operations officer outing him. I don't know what other evidence you should ever need to see that Trump is not part of the deep state. Okay, I know what's going to happen now. No, guys, see, he's a CIA plant to throw you off Trump's scent. This is the whole Whitney Webb. Trump is secretly ushering in technocracy. Oh my God. Get out of here. This is insane. Guys, this is crazy. Okay, he actually just admitted it. We have globalists working inside the IC. What does globalist mean? Davos, City of London. It's that crowd. Oh yeah, we happen to work with China to let Trump, or to try to knock Trump out. My God, folks, come on. All the evidence points to that. Who attacked Trump first? The globalists, the Five Eyes. They came up with Russia. Five Eyes, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, US. MI6, CIA, all working against Trump from the beginning. Then when they couldn't pull off the Russia hoax, They got China to play along. Said, hey, you don't like those tariffs, do you? You don't like that, do you? Okay, well, tell you what. How about you guys help us out? Hillary Clinton said it herself. Oh, yeah, I played the clip last week. Well, you know, when Russia wasn't helping, we'll get China to help us out. This stuff's crazy. And it all points back to Davos, City of London, the globalist crowd, the EU, our true great enemy. Not that China hasn't been an enemy, not or a rival, and you know, whatever, however you want to classify them. Not that we haven't had issues with other countries in the past. 100%. Soviet Union for real was an enemy. But now, right now, today, and for the last who knows how long, our number one enemy has actually been the globalists, Davos, City of London crowd behind the scenes orchestrating all of this. And they are currently who Trump is trying to defeat.
Is supported, or the WHO can help us with our pandemic response. There are quite a few people who are more than willing to say, hey, listen, this globalist thing is a good thing. So you had that. I think there was probably, based on what we're seeing with regard to former President Biden's family, there were a whole lot of ties to China.
And the China aspect as well. See, it's all unraveling. This is crazy stuff. So while that's happening, well, we're uncovering the election fraud, the ties, how the globalists worked with China in 2020, how all this is being exposed. Guess what we also got this weekend, guys? We're getting the drops of COVID. Fauci, it's looking worse for Fauci all the day, which I believe Fauci is also testifying before the Senate again tomorrow. So that'll be interesting. But we got a whole dump of files on Fauci, which a lot of it was about from his diary, but also the correspondence within NIH and HHS about getting Fauci many paid awards. See, this is what he was focused on. He wanted to be famous. I'm Anthony Fauci, and COVID is very dangerous. And when COVID's very dangerous, you need to give me an award for saying it. As I said before, this will kill everybody unless we shut it down. Well, this evil, evil man, who, by the way, is one of the great mistakes of Reagan's tenure, ever since putting in Fauci with HHS, our entire health industry has just collapsed. The big pharma took over. Our food has been poisoned, etc., etc. This man has been a grifter since the beginning, just trying to make money. And he was very excited. He got all this fame because of COVID. Check this out. Fauci's private diary, March 2020. Deaths, 9,800. Very next thing. Big front page article about me appeared in the Washington Post. Very flattering. This guy is so obsessed and so narcissistic, it boggles the mind. My national and international fame is explosive and really unimaginable. It's not hyperbole to say today, I am the most famous and talked about person in the country and one of the most recognizable persons in the world. This is what he cared about. This is what he cared about as all these people are dying. Yeah, people actually did die from COVID. A lot of it was from the response to COVID, by the way. Putting them on ventilators, blowing out their lungs. Putting them on, what was that? What was that horrible drug? It's escaped my mind right now. That killed their kidneys, 50% deaths whenever they put them on it, which was a trial drug that they got buku bucks for. Fauci was making sure the insurance companies and the hospitals making tons of money off of it. Yeah, these people are sick. This is one of the sickest men that has lived in modern history. And it's all continuing to come out on him, which, by the way, guess what? Remdesivir, that's what it was. But guess what? The Democrats can't say anything, because if they do, they're admitting they were wrong. They put their trust in the wrong man. And now, and that's terrible before the midterms. They don't want people remembering. They don't want people remembering what happened in 2020, how botched it was. They don't want people remembering that those blue states locked people down for over a year, sometimes a year and a half in many cases. Kept those masks on, made sure your kids couldn't go to school, shut down your businesses, ruined the restaurant industry in California, etc., etc., all because this man was obsessed with fame, enriching the hospital system, the current healthcare system, and working with the globalists to defeat Trump. All of that. But it's coming out. More and more this is releasing. And some might say, this is just his diary. This doesn't mean anything. No, this means a lot. Because public opinion matters. Public opinion is how you get things to move quicker. People see this, they're going to hate him. And that's a good place to be. Ruin everything for him, and then the government can move a lot quicker. Press is going wild with me. Front page in Washington Post today. Op-ed by Maureen Dowd. Profile by Peter Nicholas. He tracked the body count and his press clippings on the same page. Just a shameless, disgusting man. Well, while this is going on, Trump's purge continues, and we're seeing that they're still lying to us and trying to, even within the own administration. See, this is what they do. You got the deep state continuing to sway things. This is how they mess with our perception on things, which we're catching them. And this is a good thing. I'm not sure what to make of this. This opinionated fellow was in charge of DHS stats and just bounced. Strange timing given your Gov lawsuit for actual deportation data. Listen, this guy right here, who just wrote, I'm sad, thrilled to say yesterday was my last day working at DHS. I'm incredibly proud of the work my team and I did to build the Office of Homeland Security statistics. When I started in 2016, Obama appointee, we were a scrappy team of 11, blah, blah, blah. But he says, it will come as no surprise. I'm thrilled to end my relationship with the current administration. Between the war on immigrants, war on feds, and the war on facts, I just need a change. Turns out the guy in charge of DHS deportation stats was a libtard or a deep stater. He was likely fudging the numbers, underreporting deportations to make the administration look bad. What is one of the things that has been happening lately, folks? Well, Trump's not deporting enough. We're not doing. By the way, that always just shows an innate misunderstanding of how these things work. But it also shows that maybe, just maybe, just like the jobs numbers, just like inflation numbers, these were all manipulated statistics. And maybe, just maybe, things are better than we thought. Oh yeah, by the way, this guy gone, July, we're about to hit record deportation numbers. Coincidence? Maybe, but maybe not. And this whole front is, they're just attacking this from every angle because the deep state knows they lose the immigration battle, they're screwed. That's all they have, because in the future, they don't have any babies. Liberals don't have babies anymore. They abort them all, or they tell you not to have them, or they trans the kids and sterilize them. You can't have babies if you're doing that. And so without immigrants coming in for third world nations, they're falling apart. Well, the problem is it's all backfiring on them. We have The Atlantic now warning Democratic attempts to block ICE are starting to backfire. They can't win no matter what they try, folks. Problem with shutting down ICE in blue states, Trump officials are happy to ship the immigrants elsewhere. All we're doing is moving them state to state. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. But they're doing everything they can to demoralize the people, to lie to the people, including this, which is crazy. Democrat-led states are still taxing tips, overtime, and Social Security a year after Trump's one big beautiful bill. So they're not even adhering to federal law anymore. Guys, this is sedition. The deep state, which, by the way, the Democrat Party is fully deep state globalist. They're doing everything they can to undercut this administration, which makes you understand why Trump's having trouble gaining approval, why the Democrats even have a chance in the midterms, because it's been non-stop psyops. Non-stop. These are people who are still having the money taken out of their checks when they were told it wasn't going to happen. And so naturally they'll blame Trump, because most people always blame the president for whatever happens to them, whether they know state law or not, because it just feels better. It's easier because he's in the news all the time. But this is what they're doing. This will eventually come back to them because in lawsuits, the IRS is going to eventually refund these people. But that doesn't matter because the midterms are what matters. Get these people demoralized before the midterms. They'll get their refund checks early next year. But that is too late for the midterms. This is what they're doing. It's what they're doing. And, again, talking about the PSYOPs. Hey, guys, remember the $7,000 from Israel meme? Oh, guess who came up with that? The CEO of the Quincy Institute. Isn't it funny how the PSYOPs fall once you get a little bit of light shown on them? This was pushed starting last year in a major fashion to anybody who dared counter the narrative spun by Tucker Carlson or Megyn Kelly or Candace Owens, Alex Jones. I'll tell you, everybody who disagrees with me is paid $7,000 a year by Israel. I'm telling you right now, they're in charge of the whole world. Thanks, Alex. Thanks. But here's where it started. Originated the $7,000 meme in the IDF U.S. military merger. Oh yeah, that's my new favorite PSYOP that started last week. Did you know the Republicans just passed to merge Israel and America's military? Oh my God, bro. Dude, look at your nose, you Jew. The Jews, they're just doing it, man. Trump's a Jew. It's coming from the same people, guys. Oh, run by former head of George Soros' foreign policy operations. You think that guy knows something about a color revolution or a PSYOP? There is no merger, folks. It's an intel sharing program, which, by the way, we already do. And we do it with several other nations. It's not what they say it is. And even people like Lauren Boebert, who came out and against it at first, are now changing their tune as they actually read the document. Yeah, it's funny how all this happens, right? It's funny how all this happens. If you fell for either lie, you fell for a Soros information op. Yep. Or Candace Owens op, Alex Jones. Is it funny how you can all trace it back? Trace it back to Soros and the globalists? Funny. Oh, man. Light's a great disinfectant, folks. Light's a great disinfectant. Continues. It's going to keep pushing, though. These PSYOPs aren't going to stop. And I know, I got to say, and this is I want to shout out my audience real quick, that I think I have the most based audience on YouTube, on X, because you guys, this stuff comes out now. And, a year ago, I would be inundated with nonstop freaking out. Now, you guys more roll your eyes. I might get a few people freaking out, but people are waking up. Thank God. Thank God. Nobody, very, very few people are falling for this stuff anymore. And thank God for it. We're recognizing it because you know why? Once you understand the patterns, you can see through most of the nonsense. Once you recognize when anybody's ever trying to tell you that Israel controls the whole world, well, there's a tell right there. There's legitimate things to get into about Israel, but that's not one of them. That's an illegitimate, stupid argument. All this stuff, okay? You just keep... that's one of them. Anything that's Russia, it goes on and on and on. We have so many, but the patterns are what they're. When anything's ever trying to get you away from the whole fact that this all comes from Davos, it's a PSYOP. They're trying to get you focused on other things. And again, as I've always told you, the number one tell is blackpilling. That's the number one tell. Well, things are happening, folks. Okay, so stop blackpilling. This is starting to spread. Hawaii Lieutenant Governor indicted in corruption investigation. This came out this weekend. We have former China Development Bank president under anti-corruption probe. Why are all these government officials suddenly getting busted left and right? It's happening. It's happening here. It's happening in China. It's happening in Russia. It's happening in the Middle East. All the plants, all the people working deep state operations in all these countries are starting to get purged, which is a wonderful thing because the Fabian method of doing things is being uncovered. This weekend, I came across this video, which is one of the best videos I've ever seen explaining how the deep state works. The Fabian Society is the one that has been pushing all this communist takeover from the inside, infiltration, institutions. It's all Fabian, even if it didn't directly come from them. This whole in the modern era, this whole way of doing things, the leftist infiltration comes from this whole MI6 Fabian Society push, globalist push. And here is a great breakdown. This video is a little long, but bear with it. It's worth it. As he explains the founding of the Fabian Society and their rise. Listen to this.
London, 1884. A group of socialists sit down with a plan that will outlive every one of them. Remake Britain without a revolution. All right, but how? Well, get inside the institutions, influence the people running them, change the country, one law at a time. They called themselves the Fabian Society. Their method was called permeation. Councils, universities, the civil service, parliament. Put your people and ideas where decisions are made. Bring in public ownership and more services run by government, bit by bit. Fabius Maximus was a Roman general known for avoiding the big battle, wearing down his enemy and waiting for the right moment to strike. That's who they named themselves after. Jesus warned in Matthew chapter 7 verse 15, "Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves." 2 years after the society was formed, the Fabians put the same image on one of their own documents, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Yeah, really. In 1895, leading Fabians helped found the London School of Economics. A year later, Sidney Webb wrote about the breeding of degenerate hordes.
Let me talk about that for 1 second. He talked about getting into economics. Guys, our entire economic system is built on, I should say the modern economic system. I'll clarify that in a second here. But what we're dealing with in our modern time is the Fabian ideal. Okay, it's the infiltration to get us to communism, to make capitalism fail. It's the Keynesian economics, and that comes from the Fabian infiltration. Our American system, our capitalist American system, originally created and designed by our founding fathers, and especially Alexander Hamilton, was not the system we live in today. This is why when the push is against capitalism and how it failed, folks, that is a psyop, okay? That is a psyop, because what we're really dealing with is crony capitalism, quasi-socialist economics to ruin this system, the American system, so it fails and they could take over. That's what we're living in today. That's why people are frustrated with capitalism, because we're not taught that. We don't understand the difference between our current system and our original system. But that's what we've been living under for a long time. But anyways, that's one of the ways he talks about. And then again, the attack on the family.
Who were unfit for social life, deciding who should have children and who shouldn't. And this wasn't some nutter who came to a meeting. Sidney Webb was one of the most important Fabians who ever lived. By 1900, the society had helped form the Labour Representation Committee, the organisation that became the Labour Party. George Bernard Shaw wrote, "The only fundamental and possible socialism is the socialisation of the selective breeding of man." H.G. Wells advocated controlling the reproduction of people he considered unfit. And this is where it gets properly dark. Because in 1910, Sidney Webb called for preventing the continued procreation of people he described as feeble-minded and degenerate. His answer? Interfere, interfere, interfere. Just let that sink in. The same political circle arguing that the state should care for people throughout their lives was also arguing that the state should interfere with who was allowed to reproduce. Around 1910, the wolf appeared again in the Fabian window. George Bernard Shaw and Sidney Webb are shown hammering the world on an anvil beneath the words, "Remold it nearer to the heart's desire." And above them, the wolf in sheep's clothing. By the 1930s, Sidney and Beatrice Webb were praising Stalin's Soviet Union as a new civilization. Famine, forced collectivization, political repression, the purges, the gulag. Millions were starving, imprisoned or dead, while the Webbs presented the Soviet system as progress. They dismissed reports of millions dying in the famine as fantastically excessive. Even in 1942, they wrote, "Stalin is not a dictator." Yeah, course not, mate. They also called the Soviet Union the most inclusive and equalized democracy in the world. By 1945, the Fabians had gone from a small group in London to 229 members elected to Parliament, many serving under Clement Attlee.
You hear that? So they started as this crazy society, eugenicists, which depopulation, anybody? Teaching the poor to abort their children. Planned Parenthood. Margaret Sanger. All the eugenicists, which, by the way, eugenics was a big deal in America in the 1920s and 30s as well. We don't talk about very much, and then the communism. They supported, they helped get the Bolsheviks in, and then propagandized how great it was. And then what they do? Kept working to get into government. You notice how this is exactly what's happening here? Our Constitution, thank God, and our patriotism slowed that spread much more than it did in the UK, kept that spread down, and helped us get to this point where now we're fighting back and awakening to it. And I believe we're going to win. But this is exactly the playbook they used here. Exactly. Took over our government officials, Congress. Congress still embedded, even on the right. That's why Thune won't get anything done.
Then the names kept coming. Harold Wilson, James Callaghan, Tony Blair, Gordon Brown. The Society's own history says every Labour Prime Minister has been associated with it.
Woo.
Keir Starmer sat on its elected executive. When Labour won in 2024, the Fabian Society said Starmer and more than half his shadow cabinet were Fabian members. Its annual report also said the Society had helped shape Labour's manifesto before it entered government. Rachel Reeves and David Lammy declared Fabian membership while serving in Starmer's cabinet. The Society names Angela Rayner and Ed Miliband as prominent Fabians. Sadiq Khan was Fabian chair and is now one of its vice presidents. Their accounts name Meta, Lloyds Banking Group, Maximus, the government contractor involved in DWP health and disability assessments, UNICEF, RUSI, insurers, trade unions. They say funders can't dictate what gets published. All right, and funding doesn't prove that any policy was bought. But fund the report, sponsor the conference, put your issue in front of MPs, advisors, and future ministers before the public even knows the argument has started. Money gets you into the conversation. That's how influence works in Westminster. The door to influencing policy is wide open. And now Andy Burnham is Prime Minister. He wrote for a Fabian Labour leadership pamphlet and appeared at their events for years. Around him sit Angela Rayner, Ed Miliband and Wes Streeting, their former vice chair. at least 12 people still serving as ministers had formally declared Fabian membership before the reshuffle. And that doesn't include every senior figure who held Fabian office, worked for the society, wrote for it, or repeatedly appeared on its platforms. And the mad bit? It's all public. The history, the members, the funders, the route into government. For more than 140 years, the same method has kept working. Get inside the institutions, build the network, wait. So remember Christ's warning. The wolf puts on the fleece, walks through the front door, takes a seat at the table, and by the time anybody looks up, is helping write the rules.
So important to understand. Now, the City of London goes back even further than the Fabians, but the Fabians are one of their modern tools, modern incarnations of how they infiltrate. He said something very important right here. I want you guys to notice. He said, it's all public. Where was that part? Yeah, right there. It's all public. This is the public facing aspect of City of London in its current form. This one's only 140 years old. City of London goes back way further than that. A lot of those organizations they shared, especially Lloyd's, goes back way further than that. Lloyd's of London's almost 400 years old. This stuff goes way further back. But this is how they're doing it now. This is the public facing. This is how they infiltrate publicly into our institutions, into our government. And this is what they've been doing, guys. And so I hope that video explains a lot to you. And I hope it also helps you understand the difference between how far they fell versus us, because UK fully infiltrated. We haven't had that here. We've had presidents who are not globalists. And what have they done? Taken them out until Trump. Taken them out or severely limited them. That's the American system. This is why we are so successful at having fought it off for so long. But it was growing, and they almost got there. They almost got us. But we elected Trump. We started waking up. Now, Trump is letting us know kind of where we might be at. This weekend, Trump posted 3 times using the word Guardian in a movie posters. And he said, panic in DC. Here are the posts. USA, this is all this weekend. Guardians of the World. Here's a picture of him helping up Washington. Says, the past was about to change. History was about to be saved. Trump and Washington, a time traveler epic. Isn't that interesting? He's speaking to us. And then again, here's Guardians of the World, USA versus Iran, panic in DC. And it's a reminder of this old Q post. Now playing Guardians of the Pedophiles, Panic of DC in the middle, FISAgate on the end, exposure. This is from July 2019. And then Trump just gave us this three things with the Guardians, Panic in DC in the middle. Fascinating. I don't know, guys. You make of that what you will. But it tells me that we're getting close to the end here. It's really ramping up. And then Trump posted this weekend. Speaking of a president who wasn't Fabian Society, who wasn't globalist, JFK, who they took out. Trump posted an AI picture of him standing with JFK in front of the White House on Sunday. Listen, guys, it's in plain sight. Okay. Everything you guys want to know about where we're headed and what the Trump administration is doing, what President Trump is doing. By the way, we say Trump, he is the face of it all. He is the leader in this, but it's a team. There are many people working behind the scenes. And the fact that we've gotten this far, the fact that things continue to come out tells me we're winning. I have no doubts about that. I literally do not wake up any morning thinking we're going to lose, because every day we move the ball forward. Some days maybe we move half a yard. Other days it's a 40-yard pass, but we're always moving forward. I don't see us going backwards. And I'm telling you right now that the way we're getting messaging and what I'm hearing from people I trust tells me that, guys, we're very close to an end game. That doesn't mean the end, but it means the beginning of the end. And we may have already entered our third act. We may have already entered it. The midterms are going to be massive, but what Trump's doing before the midterms might be equally as important. But after those final 2 years, watch out. It's going to get wild. The Fabians, the globalists, they are in outright panic right now, if you know what to look for. And that gives me great hope moving forward, folks. Great, great hope. All right, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe. I got so much more to get into today, but if you like that first segment, hit the like and subscribe. Let me take a second to just catch up in the chat, answer questions and comments, any tags towards me. Let me see. I think I saw a couple super chats come in. I did have $5 from EA32 says 6 kids. Way to go. Thank you very much. And Kristen Zell with the $5 super chat says Trump's supposed to be announcing something about Georgia on Thursday. Seems as though those elected weren't duly elected. Awesome. I haven't seen that, but if that's true, if he's going to expose Ossoff and Warnock on Thursday, that would be massive. That would be absolutely massive. Thank you guys for the super chats, by the way, and supporting the channel. Let me see if I can find anything else that was directed at me. Moody asks, put the link of the Fabian vid in the chat or description. Okay, I will right now. Before I forget, let me add the link to the Fabian Society video I just played in the description so that you guys can go check it out whenever you feel like it. Let me add that. Thanks, Moody. That's a good call by you. And I'm sure they'll love the attention as well. Fabian Society vid. All right. Let me add that. Cool. Done. Should be there now for you guys to find. You'd probably have to refresh though to see it. Okay. Anybody else? I don't see any tags. And so lots of people on today, 1,300 watching. So thank you guys for watching. Again, hit that like, hit that subscribe if you don't mind. Again, please, if you want to get my attention, if you're trying to get me a question or comment, please tag me so I can see it. And when I say tag me, you got to kind of spell out the whole thing, because if you don't, it doesn't highlight it. So it's still hard to find. But with all these people chatting, it is hard to see the people reaching out to me. Again, and then if you really got something and you want to also support the channel, you can always send a super chat and I'll guarantee those get read. Let's see here. I think I did see one. Tammy says you're bringing the fire for us. Well, thank you, Tammy. I appreciate that. I'm excited. I'm fired up today, guys. I really am fired up. I think really good things are coming, and we're on the verge of something. Dunarino says, I feel like the midterms are something big, because they shouldn't be a big deal, but the signal is that, oh yeah, midterms are going to matter. By the way, I will be doing an all night stream of the midterms on that day. So mark it, make sure you spend your time here with the greatest community on YouTube when the midterms are happening live. We'll be doing an all night stream until we know where we're at. Which means with California, I'll be on a month straight. That's how that works there. MFN says, I don't see the link. You're probably going to have to refresh it. Refresh your page. How do we tag you? You type @ace and then it should start popping up, especially if you're on desktop, and then you can just hit tab to pull the whole thing. I know it's kind of a pain sometimes it's a little harder on mobile, but I do my best to even see the tags that aren't highlighted, but it's just harder. Source and a laughing disco. Thank you, friend. Yeah, if you refresh, you'll get to it. Okay. Petrie says, I was so based. Your name doesn't do it justice. That was good. Oh, thanks, man. You talking about the video? All right, we got a lot more to get into, folks. I hope you're ready for this. As talking about what Trump's doing, we can't we can't ignore Iran, okay? Because this is the big pushback, the foreign pushback. What Trump's undoing from their grip overseas has massive effects on City of London, Fabian Society, Deep State, and what they want to do here. So, as always, we're going to update on what Trump's accomplishing worldwide and how he's pushing them back. So I'm going to start jumping into this, guys. But again, if you're new, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thanks for watching. And please get into the chat. It is a great community. Okie Sooner says, Sean Farish has a nothing is happening file. I know, I love it. So good. Robin says, you knocked out of the park with the Fabian info. Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. I just played a video that was made, so I can't take credit for that. But I'm glad I found it and could put it up there because it is amazing. It's really good. So I know we're going to get to Tucker. Don't worry, Punch Cat. The Tucker part. Oh, man. We got a good grifter report today, so it'll come there. Rumdog says, that was a great segment. The end game won't take place until the radical left makes its final hit back. Well, oh man, see, I know that's a conventional wisdom that they have a major hit back, that they're going to punch us hard. And I gotta say that I'm starting to seriously doubt they have the ability to. And again, I'm not saying be overconfident. I'm not saying let's get cocky. I'm just telling you that the fact that we are just not seeing the pushback that we should be getting by now, like riots, where are they? Where's all this stuff happening? It's not. Why are we not seeing more? And that, to me, that tells me that they're either weaker than we think, the Trump administration's in more control than we give them credit for, or they are holding it. But I don't know why they would hold it. I just don't know why. It doesn't make sense logically because they are losing so significantly in so many ways. So Hannah Kushkin says, why do I think Zelensky's attacking Iran? Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Ark says, thank you for educating us on the Fabians. Savage was screaming about these monsters 30 years ago, but he didn't educate his listeners like you do. Well, thank you for that. Savage has been good in some areas. I don't know if Savage is overall a good guy. I'll say that. Freenez, it's in the description of the YouTube video you're watching right now. You have to refresh it to see it. Okay. Kevin with the $20 super chat. Thank you, Kevin, as always, brother. He says they are spent. All they got left are useful idiot Hail Marys. I think that might be true, Kevin. I actually think that might be true. And again, I'm not overconfident about it. I'm not cocky, but I am saying I'm watching very carefully, okay, what they're doing in response. And it is desperation. When Trump and Bessent started targeting their money last year, all of these pushbacks started getting weaker and weaker. And they've unleashed some big things. They really pushed the Epstein files. Not that those are bad in and of themselves, but the way they did it was a psyop and a hoax. And then the government shutdowns didn't work for them. The all-out podcaster phagosphere attack during Iran didn't change anything. So I'm telling you that the fact that their attacks that they have been big haven't worked, and they just get weaker and weaker. Again, where are the major riots and protests? This is an election year. This should be happening all summer. Where are they? I don't know. I can't answer that. I think they're very weak. And wait till I get to the election part and you see how bad the Democrats are doing with their money. It's really bad. So Kevin, I think you're right, brother. I think you're right. And again, always thankful for your support, Kevin, and all you guys. You guys, again, this is it's a listener supported channel. And what I mean by that is I don't have any major sponsors. Everything comes from you guys viewing these videos, the ads you watch on YouTube, and then whatever the members or you guys do for funding. So always very grateful to you guys. Dune Reno says, we've seen Summer of Love version 2. Nope. Let's hope not this summer. If it was going to be this summer, they would have already started it. They would have already started. I'm telling you right now. They did not want July 4th to go down smoothly. I know I was there. I had to deal with that nonsense. So, okay. Got a little itch there. I got to stop snorting cocaine before my videos. Some of you actually believe I was telling the truth there. The haters. Watch the trolls come out now. All right. Okay, let's talk about what Trump's doing worldwide, because this really does matter for what's going on in this war against the globalist deep state, Fabian Society, City of London, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, they're all tied together, right? So there's a new PSYOP going on. Hey, a PSYOP. Yeah, we love our PSYOPs because they're always pulling them. They're always doing it. They're always coming up with new ones. And we have a new one right now, that our stockpile is depleted. Now, they've said this plenty of times before, but now they're really pushing it. But here's a great response from Mike Waltz to this to this
world's economy's hostage.
You raise assets. I want to ask you about the assets. NBC News is reporting the Pentagon is actually rationing some defense weaponry amid diminishing supplies. Is America backing away from a larger military attack because its military stockpile has been depleted?
Well, look, we have to take a step back here in that a lot of stockpiles were depleted, not only from what we gave Ukraine over the last however many years, 4 or 5 years, and the administration inherited, the Secretary Hegseth inherited a depleted situation from not only Ukraine, but also the ongoing fight with the Houthis under the Biden administration and a depleted military under the Biden administration. So they have decided, one, they're going to new types of munitions, cheaper munitions, new technologies, but also with these new defense budgets, rebuilding our great military. However,
but you acknowledge
I want to be clear. No,
do you acknowledge they're depleted at this moment?
I want to be crystal clear. The U.S. military, and I've verified this every which way, has everything that it needs to conduct this campaign as effectively as it needs to be. And I have to tell you, the people that are leaking this nonsense deserve to be in jail.
Well,
that's a big statement there at the end. So we're being infiltrated and it's sedition. Okay. It's nonstop. It keeps happening in this administration over and over again. They're trying to project weakness. Why? Because the Trump administration, Trump came in and made us strong again. But their PSYOPs, the ones they've been feeding us for years, are falling apart. The fact our military sucks, the fact the rest of the world had caught up to us, all lies, not even close to true, but they were feeding it. And what Mike Waltz just said is so important. The Biden administration on purpose, ruined our stockpiles, sent it all to Ukraine. You wonder why it took us a year to do this operation in Iran? I guarantee you, more I learn about this, I really believe Trump wanted to do this as soon as he got into office, but it took a year. We had to rebuild our military, amongst other things. But we struck them last year to set them back a little bit, and then this year did the operation, the buildup, Venezuela, then this. Guys, there's no way we're out of munitions. Are you kidding me? There's no way the Trump administration would have gotten into this if we were going to run out of munitions in a couple weeks, because ultimately that's what it amounts to, a couple weeks of strikes and we ran out. There's no way. If you believe that, you might need some help. Let's just be honest. Okay. It's just not happening. But what's important is what Walt said here. He gave us a full description of leading us up to this point, that the Biden administration had purposely done that, just like Obama did before. Remember when Trump came in 2017, the military, there were stories, the military's out of ammo. The Obama administration weakened our military. The Biden administration did the same thing. They had to rebuild. But now we're fully prepared for it. And the leakers, this continually is a problem. because we're so embedded. The Fabian Society playbook, we're so embedded with these deep staters, these globalists that keep undercutting Trump at every opportunity. But what he said there is so important. They deserve to go to jail. That means there's a full-on push to get them out. This happened last week. The Secret Service had a leaker leaking about J.D. Vance. That's scary. Even the Secret Service has been infiltrated. I mean, we kind of knew that with Butler, right? Not missing that easy shooter to see on the roof. Yeah. Guys, one of the reasons the Trump administration sometimes can't get everything done in your timing in the way you want it done is because this war is much bigger than most people ever imagined. They thought Trump would come in as a king and everything goes like that. Well, I'm sorry. He's one man who's in charge of it all. But our government is massive. Millions of employees. It takes a while to weed them all out, but that continues. And there's a great example of how to look through a PSYOP. Here's my friend, Jim Savoldi, aka BAM Investor. Brilliant guy, especially when it comes to the markets. But he writes this out. He says, when you read or listen to stats pertaining to the number of ships transiting the Strait of Hormuz pre-war compared to the windows during limited opening, etc., the focus, if not bogus, would be the total number of tankers carrying oil pre-conflict compared to the periods when the U.S. military was able to send tankers through the strait at night. If 20 ships exit the strait in one day and all 20 are tankers filled with oil, we would be at pre-war levels of oil and toward markets all over the globe. Iran's cut. Pre-war, they exported about 1.5 million barrels per day, generated about 100 to 115 million per day, which is only 1 or 2 tankers. But their bogus potential revenue from transit fees would dwarf the oil revenue by bringing in 270 to 300 million. First off, they don't have any claim to the entire strait. And second, if allowed, they would implode the global supply chain, create tremendous inflation as others would potentially follow suit and charge the transit what they don't own. So when you hear only 20 ships transited the strait as opposed to pre-war traffic of 138 pre-war, it's a very big deal to pay attention to what those ships are shipping. In other words, right now, 20 ships coming through with oil are the same as 138 total ships before. This is why oil prices haven't collapsed despite the nonstop BS we're being fed. Iran controls the strait. We didn't plan for this. It's insane. Yeah, not true at all. And now, this weekend, we also got this crazy story come out. Iran confirms Ukraine launched attacks on Iranian ships, killing Iranian sailors. Iran says Ukraine is now attacking them. Who had that on their bingo card? I have a couple thoughts here. First of all, there's so much going on that we don't know. As Colonel Watkins says, I'm sorry, what? But here's the other thing. How can we trust anything that comes out of Iran? I believe every little thing that comes out of Iran should be treated as an op, should be treated as a lie. And when Iran says Ukraine's fighting them, what does that make it sound like? It makes it sound like Ukraine is all of a sudden a good guy, like Ukraine's on our side. See, Iran their missiles can't even hit Israel anymore. They can't hit Ukraine. So why would Ukraine get involved? They're apparently deep in with Russia. None of this logically makes any sense. But if you're the deep state and your proxy is under major pressure and you're terrified that if Iran goes down, next is Ukraine and Russia being solved, what do? You start a PSYOP campaign making it look like Ukraine is actually one of the good guys on our team. So regardless of whether this is real or not, right now we can't trust it. And what I would say is, to me, it makes a whole lot more sense that this is all a lie, trying to create a new narrative. But this is what you do when you're desperate. You throw everything at the fan. Keep throwing shit at the fan. You just try to get everything to hit. And so see what sticks. That's what this looks like to me. That's what this appears to be. And why? Well, things just keep getting worse for them, guys. Costa Rica arrests its most wanted fugitive Diablo after hour-long firefight. Oh, that's good news, right? This just happened. Costa Rica's most wanted drug trafficker just got arrested after a 10-year manhunt. Isn't it funny how Trump gets in and all of a sudden we're cleaning up all the cartels and all the drug traffickers? Amazing. See, all this stuff was being used. These people were allowed to run amok to keep ruining our society, keep killing our people. Fentanyl, killing maybe 100,000 people a year? All this stuff is nonstop. I mean, the CIA was running ops through it. They're laundering money through it. You go on and go on. But now they're all getting caught. Pretty amazing. Alejandro Arias Manga, known as El Diablo, taken into custody Friday morning after an hour-long gunfight on rural property. Approximately 2,500 bullets fired, blah, blah, blah. U.S. had offered a $500,000 reward for his capture. Here's why this matters. Diablo wasn't running a local drug operation. DEA alleges he moved multi-hundred kilogram loads of cocaine out of Colombia through Costa Rica, Honduras, and Guatemala into Mexico with the United States as his final destination. Of course it was. Costa Rica is a corridor. Cocaine starts in Colombia, moves through Central America, reaches the cartels. They distribute it north. Same supply chain that produced El Mayo's $15 billion forfeiture last week. El Mayo just got sentenced to life imprisonment and a $15 billion fine. Pay it back. The operation also targeted a meeting of criminal organization leaders, not a routine trafficking bust. Law enforcement had intelligence on a leadership convergence at a rural property. I wonder if it was Marjorie Taylor Greene's property, you know, her $5 million mansion now in Costa Rica. I don't know. I'm just saying things, just like they just say things. This is what you do as a podcast to stay on Fagosphere. I don't know. Be like Tucker. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying, but but I'm just asking questions. This is what they do. I'm just asking questions. Could this be Marjorie Taylor Greene's property? I don't know. I'm just asking questions. El Diablo was there. 2 other significant figures were arrested alongside him. 1 more killed. That's not surveillance catching someone in transit. That's penetrated organization. Timeline. El Mayo sentenced to life. Both Sinaloa co-founders now in U.S. federal custody. No big deal. Tuesday, CG&G's LO3 designated by OFAC in the largest cartel sanctions action in U.S. history. Friday, El Diablo arrested Costa Rica after a decade on the run. 3 separate enforcement actions, 3 different organizations, 3 different countries. Pipelines being hit at every node simultaneously. Costa Rica's president said something. I hope the prosecutors and judges don't fail Costa Ricans. El Diablo does not go free. Interesting. Hey, guys, Trump's not doing anything. Nothing's happening. No, only the most successful anti-drug sting in history is happening right now, barely getting any coverage. Only the first time in our history, the cartels being weakened and destroyed, going down right now, barely being covered. Yeah, the Trump administration doesn't do anything. Yeah, I only care about big names. Talk to me when a big name gets arrested. Well, this is a big name on the international stage, one of the biggest, actually. El Diablo, the Sinaloa guy. These are huge names, but it's not my huge name. Because Sean Ryan says that if Bill Gates doesn't go down, Trump hasn't done nothing. Okay, go watch your Tiny Toons. Okay, let the big boys stick with the political talk. Okay, go watch Looney Tunes reruns because that's clearly where you need to be to understand what's going on here. Trump is pulling off the greatest destruction of our enemies, of anybody who's anti-American interests, the attacks on our people we've ever seen in the history of our country. Yeah, history of our country. That's not a joke. And it turns out most of it was foreign infiltration. Okay, foreign, pushed through, running with the globalists, with the intel agencies, all working together to undermine our culture, destroy our people. And it's all gone. Or not all gone yet, but it's all in the process of being gone. This is the greatest operation we've ever seen. Oh, but talk to me about arrest, man. I just want to see Bill Gates go down, because if he doesn't, he's in the Epstein files, and I just don't like that. I know. But, it's tough. It's tough, but we're gonna make it through here. More coming out on Ukraine. This awesome place that we should be supporting. Deputy Speaker of Russian Duma says Ukrainian children are being sold into slavery on the darknet. According to preliminary data, more than 60,000 children have been deported without legal representation. This is why the U.S. State Department and both parties of Congress have been so ardently defending Ukraine. Is it a giant child trafficking operation? Almost like we said so 4 years ago when this started. Are you serious right now? Come on. I mean, it just keeps coming out, guys. Ukraine is the hub. So the money laundering, the trafficking hub, all of it. Again, this is why they will not let it fall, or at least they are going to go down with that ship. It's big deal. But again, makes sense why maybe they're trying to prop it up, make them seem like good guys against Iran. This is big problems for them as more and more of this keeps coming out. But guys, I mean, it's disgusting who these people are. It's disgusting. And this is why it's so important what Trump's doing worldwide. And here, even the Washington Post is now reporting ICE on pace to arrest the most people in a single month. This is generational change. Okay. We're getting up to over 4 million gone. This should be almost 6 to 8 million by the end of this year. By the end of Trump's term, he's on pace to have gotten rid of 12 to 18 million illegals. And I know, here come the people. Oh, that's nothing. There's 100 million here. Dude, celebrate the progress. Do you understand how much is, how difficult this is to make people leave? It's a whole lot harder than them letting them in, where you just open the doors and they flood in. This is huge. We are winning. We are winning. Take the wins, especially because we're getting rid of the worst of them. Over time, more will leave. As they get choked out, benefits get choked out. It gets harder to bank. All that happens, more will leave. Make it so it's not fun to be here. But in the meanwhile, on the enforcement angle, continues to ramp up. This is incredible stuff. Incredible. And just shows you what we're building towards. See, as Trump is beating back the deep state proxies, he's ending the ability to manipulate the Middle East, oil, freeing all that up. Venezuela was a big part of that. He's removing the grips of all the globalists in the Western Hemisphere and abroad, bringing peace, weakening the globalists at every opportunity. While all that's going on, killing the drug trade, taking out the cartels. While he's doing that, he's also building something here where we are sovereign, where we are independent, and we are stronger going into the future. Look what they're finding out with energy. Secretary Burgum just announced, we've uncovered enough beautiful clean coal to power the U.S. for 600 years. It's amazing what happens when you have an abundance mindset. Turns out the climate scientists, the climate change advocates, the green issues, all of it's lies. All of it's lies. We have plenty to continue for a very long time. And you think if we have enough for 600 years, there's probably not even more, or there's plenty of time in 600 years to come up with better, more efficient things. Come on, folks. Wake up. The future is very bright because even right now we have more than we need. Trump is pushing the Genesis mission, advancing the nuclear renaissance. Casey Misted, the Energy Department selected 278 projects to unleash the power of our nation's top supercomputers, groundbreaking AI, and quantum technologies to supercharge our innovation. Nuclear and innovation. This is something we haven't experienced in America in a real way in nearly 100 years. One of the most interesting talks I've heard in the last 5 years was, I think it was Brett Weinstein and a couple other tech people talking about how there hasn't been real innovation in America since the 70s, other than computers. That's it. Everything else slowed down. So think about how much we progressed from the advent of our Constitution, 1881, through, actually it was 1781 through now. how through the 70s, how much we innovated, how much our economy expanded, how much we grew, how much better life got for us and then out to the world. And then since the 70s, things have been getting more expensive. Health has been getting worse. It's harder to own homes, harder to get that American dream. Things really shifted. Imagine what happens when we bring that all back. See, innovation, you get the government out of the way, and innovation makes life better. It just does. That's the whole story of history. And the Trump administration is unleashing that so that we can be sovereign and independent here. Now, finally, coordinating to end all this. Observing Consciousness writes this old Q post that reminds us where we could be at. Q140 said Saudi Arabia, China, and Russia were coordinating with Trump to dismantle the old power structure. Strings cut, joint missions underway. Saudi Arabia was the first country Trump visited in 2017, and when they were undergoing a purge of a lot of their princes. Again, not everything's as it seems. Why haven't we gone after China? Why is Trump putting the pressure on Saudi Arabia, which overall in the Trump administration has been pretty good to us? Why is he putting the pressure on now to get into the Abraham Accords? Because it would completely dismantle Iran, their ability to mess up the Middle East, because Saudi Arabia is the big power there. Now Trump publicly says Xi and Putin personally agreed not to arm Iran. China's companies are included. Russia's included. Both major external lifelines are being shut off by direct agreement with Trump. Saudi Arabia was the first side of the triangle. China and Russia are now standing with Trump. Iran's being isolated. The weapons pipelines being severed. And the power structure behind these nations is losing its protection. This isn't symbolism anymore. The coordination described in 2017 is being stated openly in 2026. This brings us back to Trump's post last week, where he talks about Xi and Putin staying out of our conflicts and talking about not participating, but looking into their best interests. Interesting. It really powers the whole ARC idea that America, Russia, and China, and you could say the Middle East, which Saudi Arabia is the big power there, are all coordinated to lead us into a sovereignty future where the whole globalist system is dismantled. And now, instead of having these ties in a globalist system overlooking everybody like the international court, international law, you have sovereign nations with their sovereign laws, their sovereign ways of doing things, just interacting. And when you have all the biggest nations in the world agreeing to it, America, Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, and the Middle East through the Abraham Accords, when you have all the biggest, most powerful areas in the world agreed on this, what other nation can screw it up? How could Europe screw it up again? We're heading into a new age, folks. It's coming. You can see it. You can see all the coordination. Europe is getting weaker and weaker by the day. Their economy's on the verge of collapse. They barely have any tricks left up their sleeve to keep propping things up. And what they're doing, they're doubling down, cracking down on their own people, increasing taxes, increasing censorship, increasing regulations. They're doubling down in their panic to stop their people from rising up because they don't know what else to do other than go into full-on panic survival mode. It's failing. The globalist system is failing. America, China, Russia, the Middle East are about to enter into better times for all their people. Now, that's not me supporting how China does things or how Saudi Arabia does things to their people. I'm not saying that. That's not the point. Do you understand? For America, it's better. And that's the point. When Trump says we're heading into a golden age, that's a prophetic declaration. And looking at everything we're seeing, the exposure here at home, the tearing back of the deep state at home, the eliminating of the deep state here, and then how Trump is unwinding all their tentacles, breaking all their tentacles off from all their proxies, the intel agencies, the drug trades, the oil manipulation, the market manipulation, all of that keeps being unwound. What's there left to what's there left to expect? We're about to experience an energy boom here like we've never seen before. Innovation is coming back. Folks, everything, all this foundational stuff that's happening is pointing to a very, very bright future. not the dooming future some of you are pointing to. Now, things are about to get a lot better because of what the Trump administration is doing. We're about to see a world we've never experienced, one where the globalists are no longer running things from behind the scenes, getting out the whole Fabian society mentality and their operations. It's massive. It's massive, and it's changing everything. So over the next few years, I expect things to really accelerate as all this is being broken. The rebuilding is going to start soon. And that's when it gets really fun for all of us here at home. All right. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, guys, if you enjoyed that segment. I have a lot more to get into. Next, we're going to get into the midterms, the elections, the panic going on in the Democratic Party as they are getting weaker and weaker, how things are shifting, the latest on voter integrity and all that. But before I do, I want to get into the chat and catch up with you guys here. Let's see. I did see on Rumble, we got 2 super chats that came in. Ministry of Wrongthink says $5 super chat, 2 $5 super chats actually, says there was a PSYOP months back that said Trump revealed how much we have left in the strategic oil reserves. I did a quick search. Not only is the amount left in the reserves made public every month by multiple government agencies, but the listed amount for max capacity is only enough for 35 days. Since the war's been going on for 5 months, it means Trump's not even them. Sorry, man. I don't know what you mean on that last part, Ministry, but thank you for the super chats, friend. I really appreciate the support. And even from you people on Rumble, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And using them. Trump's not even, I agree with you. I don't think our listen, we are pumping out more oil than we ever have. And the only reason the prices are still a little elevated is because we don't have we no longer have enough processing of that oil in refineries because of the globalists, environmentalists closing refineries and such. We don't have enough to refine the oil we are pushing out. So we can't be 100% independent on our oil yet because a lot of the oil we're pushing out, bringing up out of the ground, fracking, can't be processed by our refineries until that's changed. Plus we need more refineries. So that's being worked on. But it does mean there's probably a lot more in our strategic reserve than we are being let on. Violence says, I'm not sure purges in China mean they're getting ready to shift and commie regimes purges are a national sport. Well, that's not what I meant by that, Violence. I meant that first of all, China is no friend of Europe. Okay. In fact, historically speaking, when you look at the opium wars, et cetera, there's a lot of reasons China hates Europe and especially the UK. They're no friends of the globalists. So China is going to do its best for China. And in this case, China, because I do believe because of Trump, I think Trump had to prove to China that he wasn't one of them. And then exert a strong hand, show how powerful our military is, show that we're not going to take it anymore economically when they're taking advantage of us. By showing strength, I think he's won Xi's respect. And winning Xi's respect, I think China is entering into a new relationship with us. It doesn't mean they're going to treat their people any better. That's not what but that sucks for the Chinese. And I do hope something changes for them eventually. We cannot go to war with China. It would make no sense for us. They're too far away for our military to be that effective on them. We would have to go all out war, which the American people would never accept. So we can't save the Chinese people. But what we can do is make things better here and force China into a different situation where maybe, just maybe, in all prospering better and breaking the globalist system, maybe China then moves into a new season. That's what we can hope for the Chinese people. But regardless, the coordination is for us. Violence also said, if we get nuke reactors running safely, it's going to absolutely kneecap the anti-energy crown that trembles and shrieks about Chernobyl every time you bring up nuclear power. Oh, yeah. Which makes you think, did they allow 3 Mile Island to happen so we wouldn't have any more nuclear energy? So. Howard Garden says, we barely have any refineries in America refine our own oil. We need a lot more built for $2 gas to be possible. Well, yes and no. We need more built for $2 gas to be possible for our own oil if we're completely independent. $2 gas is easily possible once the Iranian war is over and all the oil, and we can start importing more oil again. That'll easily happen. There'll be so much oil in the market. We can definitely get there. All right, guys, if you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe. I so appreciate you guys watching. And then consider, if you really like what I do here and you want to support the work, I'm a listener viewer supported channel. So if you want to consider joining the club and becoming a supporter of the channel so I can keep doing this every day, please go into the description, click the link to Patreon, and consider becoming a member. If you click that link, you get a free month. That month, you get to try out the Discord group, become a part of the community, and check out the members only live shows and other content. So try it out, see if you like it, and then you can decide to stay and support the channel if you want after a month. That's all I ask, is that you try it. Obviously, because I'm giving you a free month, I'm not asking for your money up front, am I? So see if the value is there for you, and if you want to support the channel. And then, of course, you could always send a super chat if you want to get a question guaranteed to be read. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Let's see here. Let me see if I see any other tags first before I try to look for anything else. No, don't think so. So, all right, well, hold on one sec, guys. I am about to get into the next segment. I'm just making sure I don't miss anybody trying to get my attention with something. High Energy says, what are the chances of the filibuster getting nuked? I'm going to talk about that in the next segment. So, Robin says, because China has a deep state too, maybe Xi and Putin are draining their swamps simultaneously. I think there is something to that. Now, I can't speak how much, but Art of Kevin, I couldn't disagree with you more, but I just think that's bad theology. But that's okay. God bless you. We both love Jesus. That's what we'll focus on. I don't think we're anywhere near the end of the world, so sorry. Mark Jenkinson says Trump, Putin, or China haven't been sharing their true position. There's a military operations, all war games has been play since Trump's first time. Trump's been in control since first term. You know, I don't know if I completely agree with that. I do believe that there have been military operations since the first term. I just don't necessarily agree with the fact we've been in full control since the first term. I think that it's been a fight back and forth. I do think we're in most control now, but I still don't think we're in full control. I don't see them being fully defeated yet, but I think we're close. I think we're getting closer every day. City of London, EU sold their citizens out to China, not themselves. Yes and no. You can make the argument both ways. I think China is a big part of everything going on, but I don't think they're the big bad. And again, this takes trust, right? You have to trust Trump. And if you don't, you're going to live in a black box of doom spiraling for a long time. Because if Trump is not, if he's not the good guy, if he's not taking us to a better place, and by beating back the globalists, especially the City of London, then it's all going to fall apart. Okay. So and then it's like, then you just might as well keep blackpilling. Okay. So so what Trump tells us is that China is not the ultimate bad guy. It doesn't mean they haven't been a rival. It doesn't mean they haven't been a foe, but as far as them being the big bad guy on the world stage that's been hurting our country the most, I think we can, and I've been doing this for months now, if not years. I feel like the evidence is overwhelmingly that it's more the EU, City of London globalist system that has been much more harmful to us than China. Not that China hasn't harmed us. So, and that's what I need to make clear. Like, some people think that when I point out City of London, I'm giving China off the leash. No, I'm not. I'm just saying I don't think they are the biggest enemy. And I think Trump's already kind of put them in their place. Howard Gardens with a $5 super chat says, keep fighting for America. Amen. There's so much hope ahead. So much hope ahead. So, yeah. Not going to get into the end time stuff today, guys. I have a whole Bible breakdown of a whole teaching. I'm actually in my membership right now. I'm doing classes on end times, which I think is a theology that's more biblically accurate than the traditional American end time theology. So you guys want more end time stuff, and I'll tell you that and it's a much more hopeful and expectant for a long time going forward than the scary end times left behind kind of theology. So but that's all I'm going to talk about on that today. You guys know me. You've been here for a while. You guys know I could go deep diving on that for a long time, but today is not the day. I got too much to get to. Am I being shadow banned? You didn't get a notification? It's always possible. Always possible. So yeah, I agree with you, Mark, on everything you just said about Trump with Putin and Xi. Absolutely. I think all I'll say before I move on the end time stuff, I think that whole left behind rapture, Antichrist coming theology is one of the worst things that's ever happened to modern Christians. It encouraged us to not get involved in politics. It encouraged us to root for bad things to happen so Jesus could come back, which means we let the world go to hell on our watch because we were just sitting there sucking our thumbs saying, okay, well, there's a sign Jesus come back, instead of saying, how do we make the world better? How do we keep moving forward? And how do we just let all this stuff go until Jesus returns and we just do our best job moving forward? Christianity is igniting in the world, 1 million new Christians every week. We are over 1/3 of the world population. Christianity is exploding. There's no reason why the world can't get better for a long time ahead. So, and that's, I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay. We need to get moving, guys. Got big segments still ahead, including an update on the midterm stuff, and of course, the Grifter Report. I know you guys are all excited about the Grifter Report, always are. And I am too. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very fun. So, so guys, listen, the midterms are a major part of our war right now. Okay. And the reason why is that they believe they are so desperate right now. Okay. That they believe that they have a chance to come back, and it starts with the midterms. But that's how desperate they are, because they can only focus on that because they know looking ahead, things look very bad for them. And I'm going to show you guys that at the end of this segment, just how bad the future looks for them. But this midterm is especially important because they need to rally their base again. They need a shot of life. The Democrats, the deep state, the establishment needs a shot of life to convince themselves that there's hope for them. They need this really badly. They need to believe that they can shift public sentiment still, that their psyops still work, that their manipulation of people's minds still works. They need to convince themselves of this. They need to convince themselves that they are still in a place where they can build a counter-revolution of what Trump's doing. That's what they need, and they are desperate to pull it off. They know that if they get the House, they still can't get that much done. Sure, they'll impeach Trump, but they're not going to get any legislation passed because it won't get past the Senate, or Trump won't sign it. They can't get Trump convicted because the Senate's not going to convict him. You need 67 votes to convict him. That's never going to happen. So all they can do is hope to slow things down. Trump will still be in charge of the DOJ. He'll still be in charge of foreign policy and still have executive orders, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a whole black pill operation right now to make you believe that if Democrats get the midterms, it's over forever. They want you to believe that. They want you to lose hope. They want you to black pill. But what Trump is doing in this time is he's making it very clear to everybody what could come if they get full power down the road. And one of those things they'll do is eliminate the filibuster. Right now, there's a war in the Republican Party to end the filibuster. Trump is leading the charge to end it. John Thune is leading the charge to preserve it. Him and the deep state and the establishment is all fighting to hold it. Why? Because it's their ultimate excuse to not get things done, to not change things. What's interesting, though, This battle is heating up. Trump is finally, and I do believe he's been doing this for a while, more behind the scenes, rarely coming out, but it's becoming more public, the fight against the deep state Republicans. This weekend, Trump put this out there. Whichever party terminates the filibuster first will be the party that survives and thrives. If the Democrats win this race, however, America will rapidly become nothing more than a third world nation. President Donald J. Trump. He's not saying if they win the midterms. He's saying if they win the race to eliminate the filibuster if they're in charge. That's an important distinction. However, he's absolutely right. And as I'm going to show you here in a few minutes, the Democrats' plans for America, once they take back power, if they won in 28 and got the presidency and the Senate back, it's dire. I don't believe it's going to happen. And I'll show you why that as well. But they're outright showing us who they are now. And this is why Trump is pushing so hard. And he's going after John Thune now. John Thune should not allow the United States Senate to leave town until it passes the Save America Act, or far better still, terminates the filibuster, where Republicans can then quickly pass everything they ever dreamed of, including a full and deep-throated Save America Act, the budget, and the ever-looming debt ceiling 1929. Democrats will do it all on day one and can't believe how lucky they got with the Senate leadership. Remember, stupidity always brings losing and death. Some very interesting things in this. Now, this came out this morning. Full and deep-throated Save America Act. Is that Trump hearkening back to Deep Throat, who was the the leaker to take down Nixon, help take down Nixon? Is that a callback to the deep state in the 70s? I don't know. That is interesting he said that. But then when he says the ever-looming debt ceiling disaster 1929, is Trump giving us a hint that they're trying to crash the markets, like the great crash in 1929 that started the Great Depression? I think that's true. We have been saying for a while now that as City of London is a financial center of the globalists, one of their tools is to manipulate markets. And I do believe, and I have friends who understand the stock market much better than I do, that believe they want to crash the markets to seriously hurt Trump's economic agenda, or at least set it back a little bit. This is why Trump has been working so hard to make sure the Main Street economy is strong, so that if the markets do crash, the Main Street economy will continue to thrive despite it. This would be like 1987, where Reagan, through deregulations, tax cuts, empowered Main Street economy so much that the economic boom continued despite the stock market crash of 87. I do believe that's part of Trump's plan. But what he's saying with the debt ceiling disaster, is it possible that this crash that could come is tied to that? I think it is. And so what Trump's trying to do right here, I believe, is he's calling out to eliminate the filibuster. We can eliminate a lot of pain of what the deep state, the City of London globalist types might do to us or to the Trump agenda by setting it back. I don't think at this point they can ultimately stop it. I really don't. But could they set it back? Could they make it more painful to get through it? Yes. And that's what he may be talking about here. Regardless, it's pretty clear he's pushing hard on John Thune right now. He also put this out today. Where is John Thune? Recess appointments of other Republican presidents. Reagan had 240. Bush 1 had 77. Bush 2 had 171. President Trump's had 0 recess appointments because John Thune continually makes sure that the Senate never goes on full recess, that somebody's always there to bang the gavel to call it in session, meaning Trump gets no recess appointments. This is one of the ways he slowed it down. It's also one of the reasons why I get so frustrated at people who are mad at Trump for not getting stuff done. Do you understand that he is getting a ton done? But the stuff he's not, it's because of him being pushed back by the Senate, by the Supreme Court, like with tariffs, and by deep staters within his own administration over and over and over again. The bureaucrats, the courts, and the Congress keep pushing back on Trump, making it so he cannot get his agenda done on the time or at the rate he wishes to. And it's all their fault, not Trump's. This is important to understand, but this is a perfect encapsulation of that. Look at that. This just doesn't happen. Interesting. Now, the Senate is starting to turn on Thune a little bit. Here's Mike Lee talking about the frustration that's growing.
Of American voter files, and it does, if overwhelming majorities of Americans support voter ID, and they do, then what exactly, Mr. President, are we waiting for? What is it that is so critical, that is so essential, that is so timely, that is so time sensitive, that we're not debating this right now? Why don't we pull this bill up right now and debate it and announce that we're going to debate it until it passes? If we were to do that, it would pass. It might take us a few days, it might take us a few weeks, but it would pass. Because the same animating desire, the smell of jet fumes, would eventually work its will, work its magic, and put our members into a state of intoxication or sanity, regardless of how you might perceive it, where they would eventually negotiate this thing to the point that they could accept it. Because they know that with every passing day when they filibuster this bill gets more popular and they get less popular. And if you add to that the fact that they shouldn't be able to go home until we're finished with this, none of us should. If we were truly doing our job here, then the 60-vote cloture standard wouldn't be perceived as the insuperable obstacle that it's been described wrongly as being here today. For a very long time, Mr. President, this chamber operated without so much as a cloture rule. Even after the cloture rule was adopted in 1917 for the first time, still, breaking a filibuster usually didn't involve a cloture vote. Most of the time, it just meant the Senate would come in and say, okay, we're debating this bill until it passes. If you want to filibuster it, you're going to have to speak. If you stop speaking and nobody else shows up to speak against it, then we'll call the question. We'll do so at a simple majority vote.
This is so important to understand that the way the filibuster is used now, first of all, the filibuster is not constitutional. It has no need to be in our Senate. It is on purpose, by design, a way to slow down progress and to keep letting the bureaucracy be the main power of our government. This is what they did. Congress kept abdicating its authority to the bureaucracy over and over again for decades, because the bureaucracy can run America without the voters choosing them. And they don't get outed in each election. So what Mike Lee is saying here is that not only is it unconstitutional, it's just a rule, it also isn't even being used the way it was intended to be used, which is actually have to talk. And then you don't need 60 votes if the people stop talking. If they run out of stuff to say, then you can just go back to the 51 votes to pass stuff. But the new filibuster rule is that, we're declaring it's filibustered. We're automatically assuming every bill will be filibustered. So automatically every bill needs 60 votes to pass. That's insane. That is our modern Congress. It is a disgrace. John Thune is an absolute disgrace. Every congressman who's supported this is an absolute disgrace. And it's not all of them. We do have a few MAGA people in there, but it is still most of them, and that is a problem. It is hard to get rid of senators. They have 6-year terms and they're staggered. So you have to wait 6 years to get rid of them. It's hard. It takes time, and they're very powerful. They are the House of Lords members. They are entrenched. This is to get to be a senator. Remember, there's only 100 of them nationwide. Get to be a senator is very difficult. It takes a lot of support. And so it's hard for the MAGA ones to get up there, but they have been, thanks to Trump. But it's still taking time. Whereas in the House, you get a chance every 2 years. That's why the House passes everything Trump wants them to pass, because he's got more MAGA people in the House. Senate, though, this stupid filibuster rule, they're hiding behind it. They're hiding behind it because this is Thune's excuse to say, I cannot get Trump's agenda passed. It's a lie. He's holding towards a Senate rule that is not constitutional, and it's not even being used the way it's meant to be used. But the pressure is ramping up. Mike Lee saying John Thune could lose support after being reelected majority leader. Leaders must lead. If they don't, they're not leaders. How the Senate handles the Save America Act, especially in light of recent news highlighting the severity of non-citizen vote problem, could impact not only the November midterm, but also the Senate GOP leadership. And Lee responds, he could win my support if he gets it done. But Thune is out there whining. Now, Trump is pushing. He's pushing. But we can hope. We can hope. But while this is being tied up and while we are dealing with our deep state, there's still a lot of good signs for what's coming. Because this deep state problem we have on the Republican side, if they want the Democrats to win this midterms, because then they can get an excuse to that the Trump coalition's falling apart, and in 28 they'll try to get a new neocon establishment candidate up and running, so that they can try to get the Republican Party back to what it was, which was a controlled opposition party, but not a true party of a movement like what Trump's created with MAGA. But the good news is things are looking worse for the Democrats every day. They are collapsing on their own, under their own weight. Here's Fetterman, the latest from Fetterman on what could happen with his
On
future.
behalf of many Republicans out there, I think we would love to have you as part of the Republican Party. I'm just throwing it out there, Senator.
I don't know if they would want me or not, but my whole families are Republican, and I think they love me.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
You know, maybe my dad's watching it. But overall, you know, my criticism directed is at the extreme, and in my view, indefensible kinds of views, things. People that are winning the primaries, they are almost always anti-Israel.
On behalf of many
Fetterman switching to the Republican side would be huge. And it's not huge because he's going to be super conservative or great Republican. That's not the point. The point is it would be a rejection of the Democrats as they are. It would wake up a lot of people, but it would also mean that we have another vote on our side for about 90% of votes. Because once you start caucusing with a party, you start voting with them so that you can have influence in that party, whether you fully agree with it or not. This is how politics works. And so him switching is a huge gain, whether or not we like it, we think he would be a great addition or not. It is a win. And this is how bad things are getting over there, that the one guy who still has a brain and a conscience on the Democratic side, which ironically, he's the one guy who had a stroke and survived it. I always say that I think the stroke reset his brain. They don't like being pushed back against, but it's getting bad for them when they could lose one of the senators who actually could win in a purple state. And this is why he could win, because this is who the Democrat are now being taken over by.
Of your platform, and I want to ask you, just give me sort of a true or false on these. Abolish the Senate.
True.
Okay. Replace the presidency and Supreme Court as we now know them.
Yep.
Abolish ICE.
Absolutely.
Abolish borders and give amnesty to anyone currently in the U.S. illegally.
As a long-term plan, yep.
Defund the Pentagon.
Absolutely.
Abolish prisons, at least in large part.
Yeah, again, that as part of a long-term program, yeah.
Okay, so no prisons. Government or public ownership of most large corporations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so then let's go back through some of those then. Abolish the Senate. There are people who are in the Senate now who are very supportive of DSA. They lose their seats?
Well, the Senate is an anachronistic institution.
Of your platform, and I want to...
These people are insane. They are insane. And I can tell you that the fact that Democrats have made their bed with these people is a stupid decision. This is why James Carville is constantly freaking out lately, because they know they can take this clip and play it in every ad blitz that's coming up for the next, 4 months. Play this, and Americans are going to say, I might not be happy with Republicans, but these people are effing crazy. And that's exactly what we want. But it does show you why Trump said if they eliminate the filibuster, we're in big trouble. because a Democratic Senate that eliminates the filibuster with a Democratic president will push through all of this, because this is what they all believe, whether or not they're going to admit it. This is who the Democrats are these days. And this is the total globalist playbook. This is what the Fabian Society wants. Erase our institutions, erase our structures, our balance of power. And then we can go full commie. That's what they want. And this is proof they're running with it. Jonathan Chait, staff writer for The Atlantic, one of the biggest left-wing, regular red establishment news magazines. Abolishing the Senate might be the DSA's best idea. This would be good for American democracy. See, they want to get rid of anything that's a check and balance, anything that is institution, or I should say, democratic representation. They want to get rid of it. They want to get everything to a mob mentality vote until we destroy ourselves, and then it'll be top-down rule. That's the plan. And The Atlantic pushing this out there is a tell that the way more Democrats support this than you'd think. These people are crazy, and ultimately they're evil. I mean, this is the kind of thing that's happening right now. Massachusetts, the House, super blue, just passed abortions up to birth. And, if you agree with abortions up to birth, you're evil. I'm sorry. That is one of the most evil things you could ever believe in. And they just passed it because this is what the Democrats are. They hate life. They hate God. They hate the family. They hate anything beautiful. And this is who they'll be. They will push this and push it and push it till they can completely take out all of us. The good news, though, is this, that socialism is not what our nation wants, except for the crazy Democrats. But look at this. This is why that clip that I just played you of that woman admitting all the crazy things is actually a huge win for Republicans.
Primary season, socialists winning Democratic primaries, candidates from the far left. And look at this here. Among Democrats, this is that Fox poll, a majority have a favorable view of socialism. Step outside the Democratic Party, it's a totally different world. Look at independence, socialism, deeply unpopular there. Primary season.
You see that? Independents, the swing voters, only 17% favorable of socialism, and that's way lower in the Republicans. Wait till you say communism, it gets even worse. So that, my friends, is why they are panicking over this, that these people are coming out and being open about who they are. And here's even more bad news for them. And I love it coming from CNN, because CNN's in the bag for the Democrats. So when they are putting this, that it's panic.
So you think that Democrats, or you might think that Democrats in Congress could see some kind of boost in the polls on this subject. You might think that, but you'd be wrong. With us this morning, CNN Chief Data
whatever, man.
I'm tongue-tied because actually these numbers surprise me. I was looking at them and I am surprised that they are like this. So who do the voters say they trust on Iran?
Johnny B is not the only one who's surprised. You would be looking at all the news coverage. You'd be looking at all the polling of President Trump, and you would think that Democrats would be able to take advantage and be dominating Republicans when it comes to who is trusted to handle the Iran war. That, simply put, is not the case at all. I mean, these numbers are quite surprising. Trust Dems or Republicans on Iran. According to CNBC earlier this month, you'd think, okay, that's one poll. The Republicans trust by 2 points. But then CBS News comes out yesterday, and what do you see? You see the exact same thing.
Well, I thought nobody trusted what Trump was doing in Iran. I thought that this was the biggest thing he's ever screwed up ever. Tucker Carlson told me that. This is the end of the Trump administration, except for the people still trust Trump and the GOP over the Democrats when it comes to Iran. That's not good for them, folks. That is really, really bad for them. This is supposed to be their winning ticket in the midterms, the Iran war. This is the guarantee to take Trump out. Uh-oh.
Trump and the Republicans take the cake. They are trusted by 2 points on Iran. Now, one poll is one thing, but you put the two of them together, and you can see that the American people, simply put, are not buying what Democrats are selling on Iran. They still trust Republicans more, even if you look at President Trump's approval rate.
Wait, so they're not buying what Democrats are selling on Iran. You know what it also means? It basically means the American people aren't buying what Candace Owens, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly are all saying about Iran. Yeah, the podcaster sphere is a failure. They live in their own little bubble now. They have no influence. It is not spreading. These people, these retards are just sitting there talking to each other, you know, giving each other nice massages. You know, yeah, say it again, buddy. Say it again, Sean. Say it again, Megan. Yeah, we all love each other. That's good. Get it out there. Get those lies out there. Nobody is buying the nonsense. Nobody's buying the nonsense. See, one poll can be a lie, but multiple polls are a trend. And the trend is the American people still trust President Trump over all this. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, these polls are weighted Democrat. They always are. They're always weighted left, which means the real numbers are actually higher. The real numbers are much higher. I would not be surprised if this is a +7 to +12 for Trump in this. Guys, X, social media, is not reality. If you are being fed all the nonsense about how unpopular Trump is, guys, it's a lie. It's not happening. It's still there. Yeah, people are confused. I learned that when I got to Texas. And my friends. But those friends of mine who might not necessarily like what's going on or don't understand it, they will no way in hell vote Democrat. I'll tell you that right now. So this does speak truth. Okay. Who do you trust more? That absolutely weighs true. And if you're in the bubble, if you're in the Tucker Carlson bubble and think he's speaking truth and that's spreading, or the Thomas Massey bubble, I'm sorry, you are deeply in a minority.
Ratings on the subject, and they're negative too, but yet Republicans and Trump still more trusted than Democrats are in Iran.
Has there been any change over time?
No, and this is even more surprising, right? You might think, okay, as the war has gone on and on and on, you might think, hey, the Democrats would be gaining ground in terms of trust that the American people would give them on Iran. If anything, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. Trust Democrats or Republicans more in Iran. In April, according to a Washington Post Ipsos poll, the Democrats were more trusted by 2 points. Again, close margin, no clear leader. But look where the shift is.
What I tell you about trends, folks. This is the trends. It matters. See, when it first happened, there was so much confusion over it that the Democrats gained an advantage. But the trend has flipped. It's flipping back in the other favor. And by the way, with the midterms getting closer, this is terrible for them. Again, polls lie, but the trends don't.
If anything, the shift has been in the Republican direction. Now the Republicans and Donald Trump are trusted more by 2 points on Iran. So again, over the course of the war, if anything, the Republicans have been the ones that have been gaining ground, which I think just goes so opposed to all of the news coverage that we have seen so far and all of, the media. You would think, hey, but no, the American people are actually trusting the Republicans and Trump, if anything, more now than they were, let's say, halfway through the war.
So how possible is it that part of this is just that Americans don't like Democrats in Congress much at all?
Yeah, I think this is a big part of it. The Democrats.
Did you hear that setup question? This is CNN. They do not want to be talking about these things. Now, Harry, of all the people on CNN, he's a liberal, but he's a nerd. And he loves his numbers. He cares about numbers more than he cares about supporting the Democrats. He's one of those guys, okay? He's like those guys in the movies that are in a cubicle and all they care about is their computers. That's Harry Ent with polls. And that's why I like these Harry clips, because he does tell the truth about the poll trends. And even with the rest of CNN, it's like, oh, God, Harry, they let him get away with this stuff. And that setup question, you hear that? Do Americans just hate Democrats in Congress? So let's let Harry cook on this one.
Democratic Party and the minds of the American public are weak, 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 to quote the great Tony Blair. I mean, just look at this. Just look at these net approval ratings of Democrats in Congress. In late February, at the beginning of the war, it was minus 41 points, minus 39, minus 39. And so you're just looking at these numbers right here, and you go to yourself, no wonder what's going on at this point, that Democrats simply put cannot take the ball and run with it and actually in the polls be trusted more than run, because the Democrats in Congress simply put are not well liked. In fact, these are the 3 lowest on record in terms of percentage points for the approval for Democrats in Congress. So it all puts together a picture. Donald Trump and Republicans may not be liked, but Democrats in Congress are really hated.
Donald Trump and Republicans might not be liked, but Democrats are really hated. He just said that to the CNN audience. That is amazing. It makes me so happy. Now, I tell you guys, I said this, 2 weeks ago I started saying this. The media is starting to hedge its bets for the midterms. They were all in on blue wave. And now they're starting to hedge their bets because they see the warning signs, because they know it's not nearly as bad as we're being led to believe. It's not nearly as bad. So they're trying to hedge their bets so they can maintain a shred of dignity and trust coming out of the midterms when it doesn't go the way people are told. And look at this CBS News poll. Not exactly the most trusted pollster. Has Trump's approval among Republicans at 88% gaining. Okay. Now that is within the statistical analysis, like they could be off, so whatever, but it basically stayed static. But again, I thought MAGA was fracturing, folks. I thought MAGA was fracturing. Oh, I thought Republicans were mad at Trump's immigration. We're not getting what we voted for. You know how many times you hear that? You know how many times people tell me that? Everybody's dead on Trump because he's not doing what he said he'd do. He's not deporting enough people. 90% of Republicans say he is. 90%. The internet's not a real place, folks. It does not represent the people. How much of the blackpilling you're seeing online is from bots? How much is it from foreign paid influencers? Yeah, a lot. Because when they actually go to the people, and by the way, polls skew left. It's just a fact. More liberals are much more likely to answer polls than Republicans are. And even despite that, Trump's got 79% Republican. I thought the party was collapsing on him. The one area that's not super duper strong, inflation, which is mostly out of its control, still has a 68% approval. Man. Sorry, folks, but the what you're being fed is just not reality. Now, with all this approval, we're supposed to believe that Trump's overall approval is only 39%. And when I tell you guys that they skew these polls left, I'm telling you the truth. Because to get to 39% with as strong as his approval is in the Republican Party, you have to really be weighting this poll a certain way. So, but, it is what it is. Meanwhile, we just keep getting more and more signs that this is not going the way they want it to go. Even in New Mexico, the first poll coming out of New Mexico says we're in a statistical tie for the governorship there. What happened? I thought it was going to be a blue wave. Luanga says, I'm sure Rich Barris has 10 or 12 polls that say otherwise. That famous black pillar, Rich Barris. But again, guys, they have a real issue here. They have a real issue. And even with all the infighting in the Republican Party, with Trump struggling with Congress, the Democrats are in a much worse place. Look at this. The Democratic National Committee is in shambles. DNC Chair Ken Martin just got slapped with an HR complaint for throwing his phone at a staffer. That is not somebody who is confident about what's happening. That is not somebody in a good place. The DNC is $2 million in debt, and the RNC has $128 million cash on hand. Funny how that works. Life sucks without USAID and CIA to fund you. It's true. As the DNC just put its physical headquarters up as collateral for a $15 million line of credit. Their own headquarters. Is this a team that seems to be winning, folks? Main goals: retake Congress in November, win key gubernatorial and local races nationwide, and prepare for wide open 28 presidential primary. The problem June filings show 16 million cash on hand, 18 million in debt. Well done, Democrats. Apparently Americans don't like you very much because they're not giving you any money. Remember, go where the money is. Go where the money is. But, you know, they keep making great decisions, though. And so for the future, looking ahead to 28. So, this is so stupid. The Democrats, I swear, guys, these people do not know what to do. This is a sign of panic. So right now, DOJ civil rights, Harmy Dillon is pledging a broken windows approach to illegal voting, meaning every single provable case gets prosecuted no matter how small. This is one thing they are freaking out about. Shift comes after New Jersey's governor revealed thousands of non-citizens. Activists and local officials are feeding DOJ leads. Election monitors already been deployed to Arizona counties. Dillon is betting the New Jersey numbers are just the beginning, predicting California's figures are orders of magnitude higher. You think? So the crackdown's coming there. And so we have the Democrats falling apart, the crackdown coming on fraud, and then we look ahead to 28 and beyond. And this is, again, I'm just going to keep showing you guys this because I need it to sink in. The birth rates are killing them, not us. Nick Freitas, more people are picking up on this. Nick Freitas, due to birth rates, if conservative parents successfully transfer their values to their kids, we would dominate the vast majority of elections in 20 years. No, we'd dominate starting in 2030. But he's right. It's only going to keep going forward because the liberals aren't going to start having more babies soon. Look at this. Wall Street Journal data on America's big cities, almost all blue, by the way, like 99% of them. 6% decrease in kids under 18 over the last decade. Nationwide, it's only down 1%. So this 6% decrease in blue cities, almost all liberals, has brought down the national average only 1%. That means conservatives are still having those babies. 15% decrease in kids under age 5. So the younger the liberal, the less likely they are to have kids. This liberal generation, the Zoomers, not having babies. Millennials, not having babies. Nationwide was down 7%. So they're just dragging it down. Kids declined in about 2/3 of 38 U.S. cities, over 500,000, 500,000. Most of these would be liberal voters someday, all gone. Birth rates in large urban counties down 18%, steepest drop of any county type. Cities are emptying of children, population collapse. It is Democrat collapse. It is. And yes, it affects us overall a little bit, but the real problem is going to be for them. Red states gaining the most productive taxpayers. Weird part is the response of blue states to losing them. They're not cutting taxes, they're increasing them. Here's a look at this. Red states gained $78 billion in income over this last decade. Blue states have lost $40 billion in income. They don't have the money and they don't have the people moving forward. Who's going to dominate the future, folks? Think about it. Then the immigrants are leaving too. H-1B workers poured into a handful of tech metros during 2022 boom and bought homes with 30-year mortgages. I can attest to this as I lived right outside of Austin. And almost every house I visited when I was helping with roofing, I was a marketer for a roofing company, was Indian. These same cities, red and orange on the map, are now seeing the steepest price crashes as demand reverses because Trump's getting rid of the H-1Bs. They're heading home. And all these red states especially, but also these other metro areas, prices are starting to crash as they leave. That's them, guys. That's their struggle. That's the left losing voters. It is falling apart for them. And their response? Let's elect Kamala. She'll be the one. The Democrats just moved South Carolina to be the first early voting state for their primary, which means Kamala has the best chance of becoming their nominee. All this, what, guys? Listen, the midterms at this point for the House are a toss-up, but I lean Republican. The Senate will be held by Republicans. I feel very confident about that. They're not going to be able to stop Trump for the last 2 years. And then 2 years further down the road, the economy is going to be much better. Iran, everything will be done. The gas will be much cheaper. And red states are going to be more red and richer. And what are they going to do in that environment that's going to be horrible for them to win the presidency? They're going to run El Winerino herself. And they are rigging the election ahead of time to make it happen. These people are retarded. But they're not just retarded, they're desperate. They look at who they have and they don't trust them. They say, we have nobody good. And the people we have that could win, that are decent candidates, might be people we can't fully control. We need someone we can control, who will implement our agenda, who we think we can win. And they believe that because Trump only kind of beat her down in 24, that maybe next time it'll be better for her. They believe the lie that she just didn't have enough time to campaign. Their belief in this is going to be one of our greatest assets going forward. This is a setup, folks. This is the Democrats rigging their primaries, which they always do, to get their candidate. And the Democratic establishment is telling you, Kamala 2.0, baby. Kamala 2.0. So who's dooming, folks? Come on. This woman cannot win against Vance or Rubio. Forget it. DeSantis, she would get killed by any of them. Any of those three. So, we'll pay attention. Of course, I'll be streaming by then. We'll still be going through it. I'll be, but the odds of Kamala winning, I think are in the negatives. That's how little I have in her ability to win an election. How little faith I have. Guys, we're winning. We have a lot ahead of us, a lot of hope and a lot of good trends ahead of us. So no dooming allowed. It's only going to get better from here. Okay. Next, I got the Grifto Report, and we got a good one coming up with Tucker Carlson, Sean Ryan starring, but others will be making appearances. So do not leave. Don't touch that dial, folks. But first, let me catch up. I did see a couple super chats come in. So, let's see. Sleepy Trashman with a $2 super chat says, whoever breaks the filibuster first is not gay. I love it. Old 90s language there. Chio Sab with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Says there's a lot of fighting going on, not visible to the public. We may never know some of the battles fought between Trump and the deep state. 100%. We absolutely won't probably ever know the full extent, but they are happening for sure. Foundation Preacher with a $2 super chat says there's justification for no recess appointments. Oh, Thune's justification for no. He doesn't have one. He has not even offered one. And that's one of the reasons it's like a deep state move. They're just lying to us, hiding it. Kristen Zello with a $10 super chat says, I stand corrected. My earlier super chat came from a video posted this morning, but from an interview last week. Nothing new coming from Trump, like with Georgia. Okay. Yeah, I thought that was what people were saying or hoping was going to happen before his speech on Thursday 2 weeks ago about election fraud. But okay, that makes sense. I do think eventually that stuff will come out, though. And thank you for the super chat, Kristen. $2 super chat from Foundation Preacher. Justified to target Tune bank account for bribes. I think eventually we're going to get all that stuff outed. The bribes, the crap on how our politicians on our side and the podcasters, everything are going to get exposed. In fact, we're going to talk about that a little bit in the next segment. So, but let me get into, let me check, make sure, tags. Violence of Poetry says, the left's getting desperate when they leverage their own assets instead of everyone else's. Yeah, right? That's a good point. As they leverage their own building. That's crazy, man. That is absolutely crazy. Am I missing anybody else here? Not seeing anybody else reaching out to me, so. Yeah, Serious says, Kamala, serious? Yeah. Hannah says we won 24 and can win again in 26. Primaries, we must make it too big to rig. Too big to rig if we show up, but also knowing that it's not as rigged as it was last time because they were in charge last time. This time they're not. Waiting for SCOTUS decision on Biden auto pen. I think it's got to be challenged somehow first. And I don't know if it has been by a case yet. So we'll see what happens there. Jasmine Crockett versus Scott Bassett in a debate. I would pay to see that. J-Man says, I would describe them as a cornered animal forced to make choices at this point. It's not their ideal scenario, but they can't back out. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Gina Ortiz Jones, San Antonio's first lesbian mayor, will run for president. Well, she's not going to win anything. Listen, America's not ready to elect a lesbian. It's just not going to happen. Just like they're not going to elect a gay man. Buttigieg has no chance. You know how I know this? Because A, Americans in general aren't going to vote Democrat, but B, the only way they win is if black voters vote for them. And you know how black voters feel about gays? The black population in America is the most anti-gay population in America. Pete Buttigieg in the Democrats, when polling by race, he gets 0% from blacks because he's gay. It's hilarious. The polls are literally 0%. So no gay person can win the presidency unless they lie about it like Obama did. So that's how they get in. DJ says Fetterman should stay Democrat. I use Fetterman as a measurement where the center of the left is when debating crazy. Well, there is no center left anymore. So that's the problem. That's a problem they have. All right, you guys ready for the Grifter Report? Again, guys, please hit the like, hit the subscribe. Listen, like, subscribe, and if you want to support the channel, click the link in the description. Get a free month to the membership. Try it out, and then, you know, if you like it, you can stay. Otherwise, super chats, you support the channel, and be guaranteed to read questions, comments, and or tag me so I can see it. Scott Bessent can win. He's not going to run. I don't think he's interested in being president. Dean Reno, how are you a gay politician? Your last name starts with butt. You guys want to know the truth on Pete Buttigieg? And I've heard this from very trusted sources, although I can't verify it. But the word is with Buttigieg is that he's actually not gay, and that he lied about being gay and made it a part of his persona in order to be a star in the Democratic Party. That he's fake gay, which is hilarious. And it makes sense if you think about it, that's how far the Democratic Party has found. So that's actually a rumor out there, but there are some very credible people who believe it. And so like I said, I can't confirm it. I can't verify it, but that is the word that is spread throughout DC, that Buttigieg is actually not gay. Isn't that hilarious? And then the funniest part is that it might have gotten him to be a prominent Democrat, but it'd also be the thing that makes it so he can't be president. It's so funny. It's so funny, but this is who they are. Oh, I love it. Yeah, loving my podcast. Thank you so much, Robin. I appreciate that. You guys are the best. Yeah, everybody's laughing. Like Tim Dillon. You think Tim Dillon's fake gay? Oh, that's funny. That's funny. They will try anything. I agree. Yeah. That's why you don't lie. Yeah. If you lie, you show up. DJ says I'm half black. Ace is correct about Buttigieg. Yeah, it's true. So anyways, I don't think Bessent's fake gay because there's no reason for a MAGA person to be fake gay. It doesn't help them. It's more proof that Trump is moderate. But Bessent's been, gay much longer than Trump was around. Brett Lillard says, I realize the stock market's fake, just a giant pyramid scheme. I mean, that's true. Well, not all of it, but there's a lot of it. I don't have time to get into all of it. There's a lot of truth in what you said, but it's not 100%. You think Tim Dillon's fake gay? Interesting. I don't know. I don't know what he gains from it, but I would say Dillon doesn't act like most gay guys that I've known. Anyways. All right, guys, you ready? Grifter Report time. It's time to get into it. Final segment of today, but we got some good stuff here. So last week, at the end of the week, it was dropped Tucker Carlson's big interview with Sean Ryan. As soon as I saw it, I laughed. You know why I laugh? Because these guys just keep interviewing each other. They just keep parroting their own talking points to each other because they all live within this bubble and they all think they're influential when they're not. But the fact they're only interviewing each other, especially for like the last year since they've been turning against Trump, tells you they don't have a lot of other influence. And they're also trying to just keep building each other up and see where that leads them. But the problem is that they pretty much all have the same audience at this point. But here's Tucker. And of course, Trump and Cash, don't effing ask me. You've got to point Sean Ryan as this tough guy. He's so tough. Yeah, Tucker. I can't do Sean Ryan's voice. It's too deep and boring. But here's what they cover. Sean Ryan's spiritual transformation. How Sean's view of Christianity has changed. There you go, guys. There's a big psyop. They are trying to convince Christians to not believe what you believe. And that's been a nonstop push, especially from the Tucker wing of things lately. The lies coming out of the U.S. military. Sean's encounters with God. Has America lost its place? All the dooming, folks. Demons and psychedelics, dangers of arrogance, Sean's sobriety journey, how your phone enslaves you. Got to get that dooming in there. Sean's advice to young men, fighting wars for Israel, and then the Christian revival. Isn't that hilarious? It's so obvious how they push this stuff. But here is some of these deep takes, Sean Ryan's new takes on Donald Trump that are very, very original. Here we go.
Everybody else has just been a wash or a complete disaster. Just a lying piece of shit. What about you?
As we discussed last night at dinner, I'm still trying to figure out what all of this means. As someone who campaigned for Trump and told everybody Trump is the option to the Uniparty. You got Republicans, Democrats are on the same side, but Trump is not. He's on a different side, maybe even the public side. And then Trump, the last hope, winds up aligning with Chuck Schumer and just joins the Uniparty in the most obvious way. At that point, you have to ask yourself, is there a political solution to the problems that we have? And I don't know the answer, but I'm starting to think maybe there isn't. I don't know. I feel as discouraged as you do, though I don't articulate it quite as well and forcefully as you do, but I kind of feel that way.
The psyop continues, folks. Trump's just one of them. This is one of them. It's so tired at this point. This whole move, and Tucker trying to establish himself as a credible one. I campaigned for him. I thought he was a guy. It's so crazy. Trump joining with Chuck Schumer. Okay, where's any evidence of that whatsoever, Tucker? But again, they just say stuff. And this is supposed to be their big podcast, guys. This is supposed to be a big one. I got Sean Ryan. We're bringing millions of people together on both sides. Super podcast. It's a super pod. But again, it's just crazy.
But I'll tell you what, I just had some buddies leave and everybody knows what this is. Everybody knows.
This is where Sean tells us his deep, deep insights into the entire push on Trump being uniparty in the military. He's got insights into the military. This ex-CIA guy, he knows. Everybody knows that this is what it really is. It's the Jews. It is.
They're fighting for Israel. It's a joke. And this isn't me saying this. This is not me saying this.
Right.
This is them. This is the guys that are going to go over there in tier 1, tier 2 units that are joking around saying this isn't even for us.
Yeah.
And throughout history, that's not a winning strategy.
Well, especially since
if they don't believe in what they're potentially going to do, which hopefully they're going to do nothing.
Yes.
But high probability they're going to do something. And they know it's not for the United States. It's for a foreign country. Then fights out of the dog, buddy.
Really? Well, especially because they could get killed. It's kind of high stakes.
Serious.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
They know it's not for us. We're not defending our country.
And you think they know that?
So serious.
No, I don't think they know that. I know they know that. Because I just had a going away party for one, and that's all he was talking about. And it's fucking sad.
mean, it's such a betrayal. It's such a betrayal.
I just had a going away party for one guy. And this one guy told me what the entire military believes. You guys, I'll tell you right now, you want to run the approval numbers for Trump in the military? I have a brother-in-law who's in the military. He does not like Trump. He's actually a full-on liberal. He's crazy. I don't understand what happened to him. He used to be a smart guy. But guy's got a lot of issues. He's gone full down the rabbit hole. When I last saw him last summer, he helps train special forces, my brother-in-law. And I was asking him, we were talking politics, and I asked him if it was hard being in the military because, and I said, it's, military is pretty pro-Trump, isn't it? And he was like, yeah. It hurt him. He's like, everybody loves freaking Trump. And I'm telling you, the military, it's like, the masculinity loves Trump. Masculine men love what Trump's doing. We get it, we follow it, and we respond to the masculine push. We also can see, because we're not stupid, how Iran is different than Iraq and Afghanistan, et cetera, et cetera. And so when Sean Ryan is trying to push this narrative that the military people all know this is for Israel, he's freaking lying. But again, they're like, I know it's tired at this point. It's just the same thing over and over again, but they're not stopping. Now, this is interesting. This is interesting because Sean Ryan, at this point, right now he just throws all his credibility under the bus. Listen to this.
Like, I was a part of that institution. I wish it never was. And
he's talking about the Navy SEALs, being part of the Navy SEALs, and now saying he wished he'd never been a Navy SEAL. That is insane. No Navy SEAL has ever felt that way.
You were never a Navy SEAL?
I mean, I don't regret it. I enjoyed my time there, but I mean, it's just, I obviously don't align with the ethics and whatever value system they're going off of, which doesn't seem to be much. But anyways, so the point being is,
what is he even saying? The Navy SEALs are just an elite fighting force, special ops that we have, where literally everybody who's become a part of it, it's like, is as proud of it as you could ever, you could believe. I mean, I don't know if you've ever met a Navy SEAL. Interesting folks. For him to say that about the Navy SEALs, one of our venerated military institutions, is nuts. And this is a full betrayal of everything he did, how he built his platform, how the people he used to prop himself up. It is a complete betrayal. And again, it just tells you how far they're going. This is the final, this is the end games type stuff, guys. They're willing to turn on even their honest supporters, their honest viewers. I had people the other day, anytime I go after Sean Ryan, I get comments, man, I'm a vet. I used to love Sean with his interviews of us. Like, he had built that's how he built his following in the early days, was the loyal vets. You don't do this. You don't turn on them. And Sean is, which is really interesting.
that's just one institution inside of the U.S. Navy. That's it. One small, like very SEAL teams, very, very small part of the U.S. Navy. And then he's talking about Ranger Battalion. And then there's all these other units. And it just made me think, it's like, man, like, this is just one war in one small part of the U.S. government, very small part. So that means every single U.S. institution out there is doing the same shit. Obviously CIA, obviously FBI.
You are CIA, Sean, because you never get out. Every single institution's doing this. I mean, this is nonsense. He's just spewing total BS. But the way they do this is just to, they're so obviously trying to create this black pill. Okay, they're trying to demoralize you. The demoralization campaign is in full effect. It is all out at this point. They are taking it all down because guess what? What Sean just said is basically there's no hope because every institution is corrupted, including the Navy SEALs. That's what he's doing. That's what this is all about. Sean Ryan, the military guy, the guy close to the vets. He's trying to demoralize our veterans. That is the point of this talk with Tucker. This is why you parade Sean Ryan out there on Tucker Carlson for the world to hear. He can just go out there and try to demoralize our vets. You guys fought for nothing. It's all the same thing. It's all bullshit. Demoralizing them. You shouldn't be proud of this. Oh, if Sean Ryan's not proud of it, maybe I shouldn't be proud of it. That's what he's doing. This is an attempt to do that. Why? They're scared of our vets. The vets are fighters. The vets believe in our country, and they might be upset or jaded over their past or why they went to war, but ultimately, the vast majority of them are patriots. And they are patriots, and they are big Trump lovers because of what Trump's done with the military. This is the demoralization campaign directed at them.
Of everything, all Congress, all of the Senate, everybody in it, the presidents, everybody.
Everybody. You see, this is what Whitney Webb does. When everybody's bad, there's no hope. Because if every leader is bad, every institution's bad, there's no hope. That's what they want. Give up. Go watch Netflix. Don't vote. Start playing video games. It's the only world you're going to make a difference in. Might as well. Hey, just go grab some alcohol, dude, because it doesn't matter. Go check out. That's what this is. It is so obvious and disgusting. And, you know, if it takes everything in me to, you know, as a Christian, to not hate these people, because I hate everything they do. And I have to go before God a lot. That's, you know, because this is the worst, most pathetic, filthy stuff you can see. Going after your own people. The people are good people who fought for this country, who served, who battered their bodies, may have lost their lives, and just saying it's all crap. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And it should just make you sick. But Tucker didn't stop there. Of course not. Tucker's going all in against Trump.
The Republican Party has decided that the interest of Israel is more important than the interest of the United States. There are a couple of exceptions. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey, and they were...
Did you see this? The exceptions of the Republican Party become controlled by Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey? What a joke. So stupid.
Greene, Thomas Massey, and they were driven out of the Republican Party. So it tells you what the priority is. The priority is serving Israel. And even if I liked Israel, which I do not, because it's committing genocide, I think we deserve sovereignty. So it's really that simple. Well, I think America lost its sovereignty many years ago. I mean,
how did we lose our sovereignty to this little baby country? It doesn't make sense. It's just so stupid. It's one of the most illogical things you could ever imagine, that we, our great nation, gave up its entire sovereignty to this little nation smaller than New Jersey that we give $3 billion to a year. $3 billion, a drop in the bucket of our budget overall. And somehow they control us. It's so crazy. But one of the biggest people in media continues to spew this lie.
I mean, CIA and Mossad have worked together, in some cases really as one, for over 60 years. I mean, and of course, Mossad has fed repeatedly disinformation lies to American policymakers over decades, including the lie that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. That fundamentally came from Israel. There's no dispute about that. The lie that killing the Ayatollah, the Shiite Pope, would lead to the collapse of the Iranian government. No American intelligence agency said that. Mossad said that. And Netanyahu told Trump that. So there's a long track record of the United States, its people, its 350 million people, being misused by Israeli intelligence.
There's not a long track record of it. There are instances of it a little bit, but this long track record, see, they embellish everything. And that's how they convince people they're right. Because when you say something that's partly true and you make it the big thing and people investigate it and they find the partial truth and they say, well, they must be right about the rest. That's what they do. That's the lie. And Tucker, the other thing he always does is says, well, obviously. He makes you feel like you're stupid if you don't agree with him. This is how the game's played.
And so the idea that you would merge them formally is a generational disaster.
There's that merge again. There's the merging psyop, folks. They're pushing that one hard.
Sure. It's also humiliating, of course. It says to the people of the United States, you have no control over your own country. You were told this is yours. You run it. You own it. You're a shareholder in this enterprise.
Isn't it a form of...
She looks like somebody we should be listening to. Just saying. She looks like a very trustworthy person, well-disciplined person there.
Treason?
Well, it's the definition of treason. It's the definition. This is treason.
This is treason.
This is acting against your own nation on behalf of a foreign nation. But a lot of Americans are waking up to the fact it's not a minor problem. It's not an ancillary problem. It's not just something we should fix in the future. It is the problem that led us into a war that's ending American empire and going to cause massive economic disruption here and in Europe. So the idea that the Republican Party would support a merger of U.S. and Israeli intelligence, IDF, and Pentagon is so deranged that, you have to root for treason.
I thought that Israel already controlled us. If Israel already controls us, why do we need to formally merge them? I don't know. I don't understand that. That's good logic there, Tucker. Do you see how he says it's going to also destroy our economy? He just throws crap out there. Just make stuff up. Just say whatever you mean, whatever you want, Tucker. Just say whatever you want. We'll let you slide. Don't have any facts behind it.
Treason trials for Nuremberg trials at some point.
Nuremberg
and the
trials.
president could veto it. He won't because he's a slave to Israel. We're against genocide.
President's a slave to Israel. There it is again, guys. The Jews. You guys see it yet? Listen, I'm tired of these grifters. I'm tired of it. But I keep showing it, and I'm going to keep showing it because, sometimes it makes me laugh. I'll be honest with you. But the other reason I do it is because they are losing influence, and it's because they're being exposed, because people like you are seeing these clips and being like, that's nonsense. And then you have something to say to the people who bring it up to you. It's knowledge is power when utilized correctly. And so seeing what these people are saying and seeing and being able to break through the psyops, more people are waking up to it every day. More people are waking up to it every day. And this just, what's crazy to me is that after all this time, they don't have anything new to say. Israel, the Jews control us, the Jews. It's always that. Why? They can't, it's like no nuance, no looking at like the obvious proof that Trump has showed us time and time again that Israel is not controlled by him. In fact, you can make the argument maybe Israel's controlled by Trump, but you can't make the other argument. It's just, there's so many instances, but no matter what happens, they keep pushing the same thing. And what does he do? Well, he doesn't just keep pushing it. He keeps going crazier and crazier with it. We need Nuremberg trials. Trump's a slave. The language keeps ratcheting up. They're just hoping somebody bites it, or knowing they're losing a bunch of influence, they hope that those who stay are getting more and more radicalized so that they can cause disruption. That's how the psyops work. And unfortunately, we get people like Michael Flynn, General Flynn, getting sucked in. I got to tell you guys that General Flynn looks worse to me by the day. Worse by the day. He shared this psyop black pill from Sean Ryan saying, you can't vote your way out. Evil's real. It's visible. You can't vote your way out. That's the ultimate black pill. Kyle Seraphin, the total fraud who goes on Alex Jones all the time and is always wrong. General Flynn shares it as a powerful testimony. What the hell is going on with this guy? At this point, you guys shouldn't trust anything that comes out of Flynn. I'm just saying. And then talking about Podcastistan power teams. Hunter Biden keeps making the rounds. He's been on Tucker. He's been on Candace. And now he's hanging out with Nick Fuentes. Here's a little clip from Fuentes and Hunter Biden getting together. By the way, reports are that at some point in this, they started coming to blows, but this would not show that. I wish we had that.
I want to find common ground of how much of a shithead Donald Trump is. We can get to
common ground on hating Trump. Ooh, that's original. Here we go. This is why they're obsessed.
there. Okay, what I don't understand is how you didn't recognize that in 2016, and how you didn't recognize that in 2020, and how you didn't recognize that in 2024. Because Donald Trump hasn't. 24. Because Donald Trump hasn't changed. Donald Trump hasn't changed at all. Donald Trump has been Donald Trump since he came out of the womb of a woman that was an immigrant to this country. And so we need to build a wall. Where's the wall, Nick? He never built the wall. Why'd you vote for him in 2020? Why'd you vote for him in 2024?
I didn't vote for him in 24.
Okay, well,
going to take us to war in Iran and the Ukraine war.
I didn't vote for him in 24. That's news, huh, Nick? You were telling people to vote for him, and then you said we would have been better off with Kamala. These people just lie and lie and lie. It's so crazy.
I said that's not going to end in one day. Too complicated. We're already in it. And so I didn't vote. I didn't vote in 2024. And I told my followers not to vote for Trump for that reason. And fundamentally, you're 100% right. No ideological core. He's not an ideological guy. Yeah, it is. He's
literally all about him.
And I agree. He's a cruel narcissist. Yeah. And you said I like the cruelty. I do not like the cruelty.
No, by the way, no. I didn't say you like the cruelty.
This is just, it's nonstop, guys. Everywhere, it just keeps coming. Oh, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's got to jump in. By the way, this is the very trusted source from Tucker Carlson. Don't draft our kids for your stupid World War III. Don't even think about it. My God, folks, this has 32,000 likes. Okay, and probably half of those are bots. But this woman, they just say whatever. World War III, not even close. Draft, we haven't even talked about it. We haven't had a draft since the 70s. Our recruitment is at record levels. We don't need a draft. We don't even have boots on the ground. But yeah, hey, just woke up one morning from my mansion in Costa Rica and decided to tweet this out there to scare thousands of people and just spew the hate. This is who are supposed to treat us serious. It just over and over again, guys. We have Candace propping up the IRGC. I just want us all to be mature enough to admit the Iran's marketing team needs a raise. Who's creating those videos? How much do they charge hourly? I'm asking for a friend. Okay, go ahead. Hire the IRGC's marketing team, Candace. I mean, it's like they're not even trying anymore. We have Mel, Village Crazy Lady, who none of you know who she is, and you're better off for it. But I will tell you, she's got a huge following on X. And she comes out, Candace, the most amazing, talented person, and Joe Kent was at my wedding. Here she says, Candace Owens, literally one of the nicest people I've ever met. This is how, it's all fake. They all just prop each other up. Do you see the psyop, folks? I had no idea what to expect the first time I talked to her. It took 30 seconds to feel like I was talking to a girlfriend I'd known for years. Next, Joe Kent's my ex-husband's best friend. You don't say. He was at my wedding. If you had asked me 10 years ago, I would have called him my friend too. It was so crazy. But here we're leading to the good stuff here though, guys. Okay. This isn't going to last very long. It's starting to come to the end, which is why they're getting more and more ridiculous. Brian Cates calls out Patrick Byrne and Emma Robinson, who, by the way, Patrick Byrne is wearing a "Don't blame me, I voted for Ron Paul" shirt. This is supposed to be the huge Trumper. Patrick Byrne. But he says, I started calling Byrne and Robinson out on this shit back in December of last year, furiously trying to sell the narrative the Venezuelans hack our elections remotely from Venezuela, manipulating the machines from quite far away. Selling a VC, CCP, Russian nexus somehow snuck in here, have been rigging our elections to the satisfaction of Venezuela, CCP, Russia, but definitely not Israel, Ukraine, or City of London. Nobody stuck in here without the CIA, NSA, DIA, and about half a dozen U.S. intelligence being aware of it. But they're going to keep trying to hype this narrative. The accurate formulation is the CIA, FBI, and other government gangsters were in bed with certain foreign entities in the rigging of our elections, and horse trading was going on between our homegrown government gangsters and foreign entities when it came to won each election. That is true until Trump came along. Robinson and Byrne's role is to provide plausible deniability to the government gangsters no longer in control. Furiously now trying to cover their asses as a massive election rigging right here in America begins to rise into sight. And he's absolutely right. They're trying to throw us off. This is the game, folks. And you notice how many are showing up on today's segment? They're all over the place. Many of them have infiltrated what I would consider the Patriot group of MAGA types who have been in the conspiracy mode for a while. They've infiltrated the obviously the mainstream sphere of things, the Groyper side of things, the anti-Israel side. They come from all shapes and sizes in all different areas, folks. But again, it's about to end for them. As Brian Cates right here, and this is the part that should give you all hope and also explain to you why they're getting so crazy. The storm is almost here. The end at last of the unregistered foreign agent class and insurrection surreptitiously today here in America. The unregistered foreign agents surreptitiously making war on our country, the unregistered foreign agents surreptitiously making our country in the courts, unregistered foreign agents in our federal agencies making war on our country, the unregistered foreign agencies in our Mockingbird media. It will be a great and terrible day when all these people are removed from their positions of power and institutional influence for the crime of treason, in aiding, abetting, and enabling foreign entities to make war on their own country in exchange for bribes. Why do you think Tucker is calling what Trump's doing is treason? See, they deflect. They don't want you to think about what they're doing, and so they deflect to the other side. To use the power and influence of American office or institution in order to represent the interests of foreign governments, foreign corporations, and foreign crime syndicates while functioning as an unregistered foreign agent, while deliberately neglecting the interests and welfare of the security of the American public is a crime, one of the most serious a person can commit. This kind of blatant deception will no longer be tolerated after several thousand public examples are made. Once the traitor class is removed from power and our government and cultural institutions, this country will not be recognizable in just a few years. And I do believe this is where we're headed, folks. The UFAC syndicate has been looting and sabotaging, suppressing country for so long, many of you cannot even envision what the country will look like when these people are gone. In that case, you'll simply have to live through it to find out what it'll be like. This is exactly what we're getting to, folks. This is why they're fighting back so hard. This is why the podcasters are all assets deployed, PSYOP after PSYOP, why this huge black pill operation is currently unfolding, because their time's almost over and they don't know what else to do except make you think and make you give up. It's why they employ people to prop them up from afar. It's why they keep joining with the other side and propping up our enemies. Candace, Alex working together. It's why Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to make it look like Trump is going after your kids. Why Hunter and Fuentes are getting together to crap on Trump. Why Mike Flynn is sharing all this nonsense. Tucker's calling for treason. And why Sean Ryan is trying to tell our vets that they are, everything they did was a mistake. That America's not worth fighting for because we're completely taken over. That's what they're doing. It's from all sides, all angles. They use it all. I don't even have to cover the left because that one's obvious. So I cover the people who are on center right, leaning right, or far right in the case of Nick Fuentes. None of them are actually far right or center right. They're all Fabians. They all do the Fabian Society tactics. Lie to you, infiltrate, black pill you, and get you to go against your own interests. That's what they do. That's what they do. But like Kate says, I do believe we're getting to the point where the FARA violations, the foreign agents, it's going to be outed. It's coming out. And this is why I think they're doubling down now, because they know their time is ending and their influence is waning. And so, folks, that means for us, we're winning. It's all going to happen. It's just a matter of time. But in the meantime, let's just keep trucking. We'll be all right. All right, folks, that's going to be the end of today's segment. So please hit that like and subscribe. Thank you for watching today. Thank you to everybody for supporting the channel. I appreciate you all so much. Just let me, before we go, make sure I'm caught up with you guys. And last chance, guys, for any questions, comments, get them in now. And I'll do my best to answer as many as I can. Janet's with a $5 super chat says, Sean Ryan's a full-on CIA asset. This is why EM and Holt say there's a faction in the military who are not American first. 100% true. Completely agree with you there, Janet's. And thank you for the super chat. You are awesome. I really appreciate your support. Thank you, Monica. Michelle says, so glad you started a channel, podcast, whatever. You're going to wake up a lot of people. Thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Chicky. D-Man says, don't you know Trump worked for Russia, became a Nazi, now he works for Israel. It's all so simple. Yeah, right? Which one is it? Or is it all of them? So funny. So true. Tucker would be a consummate Fabian if you consider in tactics. I agree. Yeah, he really acts like them. That is for sure. K. Shuey, do I think people like Tucker and Sean are long cons, or this is a recent payoff? I definitely think Sean's a long con because of the way he started and came on the scene just a decade ago or so. Tucker, I think what Tucker is he's always been establishment. He was raised in DC, raised by elites. His father was CIA. And so what I think is he is just so embedded in it. And then they pushed him through. And so it was more like Tucker was always like, hey, get in the media, gain influence. And then whenever we need you to parrot our stuff, we can call upon you. I think that's Tucker. And so you could say it's a long con in a way, but you could also say like, maybe he didn't even know he was part of the long con. So, but he's always been used for sure. User says, saying we can't vote our way out is incitement to violence. You're 100% right. It is, because if you can't vote your way out, the only other way is revolution. Sabatic says the Ukraine-Iran bit's probably a push to get Russia into the war. Smells like shite. They do. They want World War III. So they're going to push anything they can to ramp things up. And that's what they do. DJ, I'm telling you, Biden's are silent MAGA. Hunter Biden's trying to stay relevant to undermine the deep state. I don't believe it at all. If you turn out to be right, DJ, I will call you out, but I don't believe Biden is secret MAGA at all. I think Biden is completely corrupt, shell of a man, shell of a family that has no true beliefs other than money. That's what I think the Bidens are. But we'll see. We'll see. Lisa got sucked in by Sean, not anymore. Listen, we've all been sucked in. I used to love Tucker Carlson. I loved him. I loved his show. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed a lot of Megyn Kelly's stuff for a while there. We've all been bought in. I used to think Candace Owens was a legitimate, independent, we all got psyoped at one point. Some more than others. But none of us have ever been perfect on this stuff. So, all right, folks. Well, I'm going to call it a day. It's a 3-hour show. Been a long show today. So listen, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Let's end in a prayer as always, because we need it and it works because we are winning. And then I'll see you all again tomorrow at noon, same bat time, same bat channel. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today, Lord. Thank you for the exposure you're bringing, the declassification, just the way they act, how obvious it is, God. People are waking up, influence is waning for the deep state, for the psyops, all of it. And God, I thank you that you are the eternal white pillar. There's no hopelessness in you at all, ever. And anything that's fear-based, black pill, hopelessness, discouragement never comes from you. We know that because your word tells us that. And so we love you for that, Father, and just help us continue to break through this stuff. Expose the corrupt, expose the liars in Jesus' name, and bring justice, Father. We pray peace over President Trump, God, over his thinking and for his life and for everybody around him, God, that you would protect them completely, Lord, that you would continue to weed out the deep state from our country and abroad. And Father, just give them wisdom in everything they do. And Father, I believe fully that you will finish what you started in our nation. We will see this through, and that the best time is coming, Lord. So we pray for peace, prosperity, and justice like never before in our nation. And God, that you would stir us to do whatever it is we need to do, each one of us, to preserve and prolong and create a better country for our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids. In Jesus' name we pray. And Father, I just bless everybody watching, and I thank you for them. Bless them all in the name of Jesus. Amen. Love you guys. I appreciate you, and I will see you all tomorrow. Have a blessed rest of your Monday. See you then.
Headline line, screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shout and nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polish, quiet. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is